Dlatego! Hello and welcome to another episode of Ferret 64 with me, your host, YemmytheFerret. Ferret 64 is the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, reviews, and so much more. It's a podcast. Today we have I feel like this episode is going to be so long. We have so much to go over today, and there's still more. As I'm recording this, it's about 9 o'clock in the morning, and the Xbox showcase is later today, so I am planning on wedging that in to probably at the end of the first part of the show. But if you want to stick around, hear all the announcements from the first slate of Summer Games Fest stuff. That's what I'm doing first. The Ubisoft Forward and probably the Yacht Club Games thingamajiggy will be next week because those are just, Monday. So it's like I'm not going to wait till Monday to release this episode. We got enough to talk about today with the rest of these showcases. So let's go ahead and get started with what was shown off at that game showcase. All right, timestamps for each showcase will be down in the description, and there should be chapters on either Spotify or YouTube. So if you want to skip ahead to a showcase that you are more interested in, that's fine by me. The timestamps are there for a reason. I will be going over some basic news from the week at the end of all this and some games I've been playing, but I'm not going to be going in depth probably with that kind of stuff, especially if this takes, I don't know, a couple hours to get it through the entirety of my showcase slate that we have here. And then also on top of that, I don't know how long it's going to take me to go over the Xbox stuff later. So we'll see how it goes. The first the first showcase was the Guerrilla Collective. And I don't think this was technically a part of the Summer Games Fest because it actually took place before Jeff Keighley's show. But I thought it was a pretty good showcase. I thought there was a lot of fun stuff talked about and shown off here. This is also one of those showcases that made me realize that I don't know how to spell gorilla without autocorrect. What a weird spelled word. All right, let's get into it. There's a game called Reckless coming from Free Range Games, which is a skateboarding game. It's a skateboarding MMO, apparently. It's called Reckless. You'll be able to build, share, and play together in this arcade skateboarding game. These are the same people who worked on Tony Hawk Pro Skater. There's some people who worked on Tony Hawk Pro Skater in here, but they built a new team to try and I guess maybe relive the glory days, I suppose. But, the building mechanics look pretty cool. If you recall from, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, which I know is, not everyone's favorite. I mean, most people's don't like that one. At least the building of the parks in that one was actually pretty good. This one looks like it's definitely more of like a cartoony style kind of game, but it looks really cool. It really does, and that's coming this fall. You can wishlist it now. All these games, if you're interested in them, they were emphasizing this whole weekend to wishlist, and I think that helps them and helps the developers show the publisher hey, we there's a lot of people interested in this. So I would say, just as a general term here, if you hear something you like or if you see something you like, go ahead and wishlist it on Steam. I think that it does help the developers out a little bit at least. But yeah, this one looks pretty cool. Reckless, pretty cool indeed. Ukulele Replay. Yuka Replay. So if you don't recall, the first game coming from Playtonic was Yooka-Laylee, which was a Kickstarter game. I did help back it. When it came out, it was met with some mixed reviews, and me personally, I did not like it. I retried playing it last year in like November, and I just could not get into it still. It just was void of a lot of things that I really wanted from a 3D platformer. And yes, Playtonic has redeemed themselves since then with The Impossible Lair and a couple of other published games. This is a remaster, of course, of the original game that they put out. They said that after all these years, 10 years of experience, they said they wanted to go back and redo the game. And the stuff that they're showing off, I mean, the graphics obviously look a lot better. The lighting effects obviously look a lot better. But I think that core gameplay is going to be the same, and that's kind of the thing that I really wasn't super crazy about was the gameplay. And which is interesting. Well, actually, no, it's not interesting. It makes sense. Having to use like an energy bar for your moves and stuff like that was just really annoying, and I just felt like Yuka and Laylee didn't really feel that great. Are they gonna fix that stuff in this game? I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But Yuka, I mean, Laylee, the bat, you could they definitely went hardcore with the fur effects on her. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'll be interested in getting this when it's on sale. I've been burned by this game a couple times. I just don't feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like picking it up unless they reveal that all the backers are going to be included in the game again. Then I may pick that up simply because my name is in it. Not YemmytheFerret, but my other name. Anyway, they didn't say when that's going to be coming out. When did they say anything at the end of the trailer? I don't think so. Maybe it's coming out later this year. I don't know. A game called Deathbound is coming out. This is a Souls-like game. It's a party-based Souls-like game where you switch characters with a tap of a button. The gameplay itself, they didn't really show off too much, but it looks kind of like that Themyscira game, I guess. There's a lot of like green colors to it, which is kind of what that whole kind of game was about. It does look kind of cool, like switching between the characters on the fly. I guess you have like 4 characters to switch between, I guess. They will be releasing a demo, so you can try it out. It's supposed to be releasing later this year. I mean, that looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It does look pretty cool. So we'll see how that goes for them. Volgar the Viking 2 from Crazy Viking Studios. What a name. This is obviously inspired from like the 80s arcade games. It's apparently like a Ghosts and Ghouls and Goblins type game where it's a very difficult one-hit kill kind of scenario. So even though this is a modern game, they are going to retain the difficulty for those classic games, but they will add modern conveniences like practice mode, checkpoints, save profiles, and unlimited continues. But there are bonuses for people who do the game pure. So I guess they're allowing you to have accessibility for the game, but if you complete the game purely, the game the way it was intended, I guess there's something extra for you. I don't know what that could be, but this is coming out August 6th to pretty much every single platform, including GOG. Knights in Tight Spaces. This is a tactical combat game. It's a sequel. I don't know what it's a sequel to. Fights in Tight Spaces? Okay, so it must be kind of the same concept, the first game. I never played the first one, but this one is it's a tactical kind of game where there's like spaces on a board, and you obviously do actions in those spaces against the enemy characters. There's a bit of deck building in there as well, but also a lot of it depends on your positioning. So sometimes like an enemy will hit another enemy because you push them into the enemy right before they were about to attack, or you can kick people off of ledges, or skeletons off of ledges. So yeah, I mean the graphic style is nice. I do like the graphic style. I don't know if this is going to be one that I'm going to pick up per se, but it does look really fun. It looks pretty cool in terms of like the graphical art style as well. Neon Blood. This is a cyberpunk investigative adventure. There is like a Q4 2024 release date. But essentially, it's a pixel art adventure where you're trying to solve, a case, obviously, but it's in the cyberpunk universe. The pixel artwork does look really nice, and the concept is interesting. It does kind of remind me of that. What was that game that came out a few years ago with the raccoon? I forget what it was called. It does kind of remind me of some other pixel artwork games, I guess you could say. But this one does look pretty flashy. It does look pretty cool. Neon Blood. Steam World Heist 2 got another trailer. This time it was just a bit of an overview trailer, just kind of like trying to, give you an idea of what the game's like. I think that if you are interested in the game, you already know what to expect. In these trailers, they have shown off a bit more stuff. New weapons, new mechanics, new enemy types, stuff like that. I'm not going to go into great detail because I know there's people who don't want to hear about this stuff, but it does look really good. They showed off like a bit of a mission, and then they showed off some of the open world stuff where you're traveling around in your little ship. So, I mean, this is definitely a day one pickup for me. It's been a day one pickup for quite some time. It's coming August 8th. 2024 to all platforms. Killborg. This was a game that really made me perk up. And I'm not talking about like perk up as in like I was sleeping. I just this one kind of caught my attention. This is a third-person roguelike beat-em-up / shooter where you take on arenas of thugs in a kind of like dystopian future setting, and every time you beat a thug, well, maybe not every time you beat a thug, but every time you like get to the end of a maybe like a boss encounter or even like a difficult wave, you can upgrade your character with robotics and stuff like that, so giving you new powers like electricity, fire, etc. And also you can upgrade your guns and stuff like that too. It just looks really cool. And being a roguelite, obviously, you're going to have to restart a couple times. But the gameplay looks pretty good. The game also itself looks decent enough. No release date for this yet, but I believe there is a demo coming out in August. Disco Samurai. This is a rhythm action game that lets you battle criminals while beating them to the beat. So it's kind of like a Crypt of the Necro Dancer or something like that, where doing or maybe even more like Hi-Fi Rush, where you do stuff to the beat and it gives you more damage or it gives you a better combo rating. I mean, it's like a top-down pixel art game. I don't think this is going to be one for me per se, but there will be a demo available in October. That's going to be a little while away now. Oh, no, wait, no. That trailer was wrong. Demo available on Steam 10/6/2024 is the release date, because here it says that there's a demo releasing for the Steam Next Fest on June 10th. So yeah, I think they kind of didn't do the trailer too well there. Anyway, Night Dive Studios has announced that they are redoing or remaking Killing Time. This is an old first-person boomer shooter, I guess you could say, in the same vein as something like your Dooms and your Wolfensteins and stuff like that. The Star Wars Dark Forces remaster was really good. This one's also looking pretty good too. Killing Time Resurrected. Did they have a release date for this? Releasing later this year for PC, Switch, PS4, 5, Xbox One, and Series X and S. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I don't. This isn't one that I'm like super interested in, but people who are fans of first-person shooters, boomer shooters, probably gonna want to check this one out. This is I guess a bit of a classic, I suppose. But they definitely did this one justice. I don't think it looks as awkward as Dark Forces did with the clashing graphic styles. It definitely looks like everything melds together a little bit better. But I mean, Dark Forces was still a good remaster at its core, so I have no doubt that this will also be good as well. Tamba Special Edition got a release date. It's coming out August 1st, and that was pretty much the whole trailer. I've already talked about this before. Project Tides. This is coming from the same people who did Demon Turf, which was a fantastic open world platformer. And they're coming out with a new game, and it's not really going to be called Project Tides at this point. This is just a placeholder name. But I would say that this looks like a really cool looking open world that they're working on. An expressive 3D platformer set in a massive open world. Very excited to see more about this Project Tides. There will be a full game announcement sometime in the near future. Final Night. This is an action beat 'em up game, which has a lot of opponents for you to fight and get over. Also, I mean, it kind of reminds me of like Castle Crashers a little bit. There's some boss fights mixed in as they showed off, but yeah, essentially it's pretty much like a crazy 2D rogue, not roguelite, but like RPG kind of battling, I guess. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but check out the trailer. Final Night. When is that coming out? Wishlist now. No release date yet. Ninja Slayer Neo Saitama in Flames. This is coming from a developer called Skeleton Crew, and the only reason I said that was because I like the name Skeleton Crew. This is apparently adapting a hit manga called Ninja Slayer and Ninja Slayer Neo Saitama in Flames. It's a high-speed 2D action platformer where you play as the Ninja Slayer himself, battling against evil ninjas. It definitely has like that manga style to it from what I could see from the gameplay. It's obviously 3D character models in a 2D space, but it does have a lot of flair to it from what we can see between the little animations. So kind of cool looking, for sure. I don't believe this has a release date. Sometime in 2024. Light Odyssey. This was one that also kind of got me interested. It's a game where it's like a top-down world, and you're playing as like this little character, and you'll be battling enormous creatures in the world. There will be mysterious languages to decipher as well. Devastating boss battles require you to dodge in almost bullet hell-esque fashion as you attempt to take down the giant Colossus-type creatures. Now, you know me, I don't really vibe with Shadow of the Colossus as much as other people, but this looks pretty cool. It really does. I like the perspective, I like the art design, and also you don't have to climb up on top of the monsters to defeat them. You can just hit them with your sword, which is nice. I don't mind that whatsoever. It's coming in 2024. I believe there will be a demo available for this one. Maybe not, but it is coming in 2024. Fallen Aces is another game that I was very interested in. Fallen Aces is a noir mafia-type game. It's a first-person shooter, kind of boomer shooter with the comic book aesthetic. It almost reminds me of that Mouse game coming out. I don't think this will steal Mouse's thunder because obviously Mouse is a pretty unique-looking game in general. But yeah, this kind of has the same formula of kind of more of like a cartoony comic book aesthetic. And you use weapons like guns and wooden planks to fight and kill various mafia members. This one is set to release later this year. There will be a demo. There is a demo available right now for the game on Steam. It looks like you also maybe possibly fight a shark, or maybe if you fall into the water, the shark kills you. I don't know. Evil v Evil is a co-op FPS game where you shoot down enemies as a powerful vampire while you take down an evil conspiracy. Um, the trailer is, I think, pretty much completely CG, so there's really not much to say about it, but it's a pretty cool trailer, I guess. But essentially, he just like shoots down skeletons and then rips them apart. Um, yeah, I guess it has like a Doom type feel to it, I suppose. So this is coming out July 16th. With it being so close, I really do wish that they had actually put out some gameplay for this one. I mean, the trailer didn't really even show off any of the co-op features, so that's unfortunate. Anton Blast. Obviously we've known about this one for quite some time, and it will show up later in the events as well. But this time there is it was like a cinematic trailer for it, where they had like a cow and chicken-esque devil guy, talking into a mirror, and then he finds out that Anton Blast is like the chosen one or something like that. It was a very fun animation style on the characters. Anton Blast is looking pretty fun. Definitely can't wait to try this out. The game is still coming out on November 12th, and there is a demo available for this one, but it was available already, so it's not anything new there. Wizard of Legend 2. This is coming from the same people who did Children of Morta. Wizard of Legend 2 is a Humble Bundle published game. The trailer features new gameplay the features. It's like a top-down cooperative, I don't know, magic using brawler, I guess. Kind of reminded me a bit of like Hades, like that Hades style, I suppose. Maybe it's not co-op. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I honestly don't remember this trailer. I'm rewatching it right now, and I don't remember ever seeing this one. I must have maybe zoned out during it. I mean, it doesn't look bad at all. It doesn't look bad. There was some co-op elements, actually, so I was right. 1 point for me. Anyway, this is coming out sometime this year. Play the demo now on Steam. Clock Tower Rewind had a bit of a little showcase here. This is the remaster or whatever of the classic, I guess, horror game. They showed off some of the new features that are going to be coming to it, including a bunch of commentary features from the original developer of the game. They're not changing any of the art or the gameplay, but they do have some rewind ability and stuff like that adding into it. Also adding more languages for more localization. It's still coming out in fall this year. I mean, if you're a fan of the original game or if you're a fan of horror games, it's definitely going to be one to pick up, especially if you're interested in like the history of Clock Tower as well. Post Trauma. Another horror game inspired by the classics. You'll play as Roman, a train conductor trapped in hell. You solve mysteries and battle some of the horrors that get in your way. This is coming out in 2024. Kind of like has a bit of like a newer Resident Evil style to it. But there are some fixed camera angles which are kind of cool as well. It looks like you might play as two different characters because there was like a smaller like childlike character. So maybe kind of like Resident Evil 2, you play as like a different character for a segment or something like that. It does look pretty interesting. But it is very Resident Evil-esque. I don't know if it's going to be able to set itself apart from that series enough to make me super interested. But this is coming out, like I said, 2024 to the major platforms. All right, everyone in the chat was waiting for this one. The people were clamoring for Five Nights at Freddy's to be shown off, and yes, Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit. This is I guess kind of like a prequel to the original Five Nights at Freddy's. Essentially, it's a pixel art adventure where you play as the kids. You try to solve puzzles, avoid Freddy, and uncover mysteries. Yeah, I mean, the game looks kind of interesting. Don't get me wrong. Like, the pixel art aesthetic definitely works for it. And playing as like a little kid trying to run away from the various Five Nights at Freddy's creatures would be kind of interesting. I don't know if they had a release date for this, but yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit says it's coming soon. So we'll see when that is. It's supposed to come to all the major platforms as well. Hollow Body. Not Hollow Knight Silksong. Sorry. Play as Mika in a survival horror game where you travel around investigating elements in a game that feels very much like the 90s survival horror genre. So yeah, it definitely looks a lot like, the Silent Hills of the old days or even Resident Evil of the old. Not much else to say about that. It looks good. It's not like it looks bad or anything like that, but I don't really have anything to say. And also, the character's outfit does look like a female version of Leon's from Resident Evil 4, so they are definitely wearing their inspirations on their sleeves, quite literally. But Hollow Body, that is coming out eventually. There will be a demo available for Steam, and it's actually available right now. Demon School. This is what is this? I don't even know what this is. Looks like a turn-based Persona-inspired game. Well, it's turn-based in a way that like you have a grid pattern on the floor and you do attacks and stuff next to enemies. So it's not really, I guess, Persona in that way where it's turn-based like those games. But there definitely is a bit of a Persona flair to this, especially with the character animations and stuff like that. Some cool character designs in there as well. That's coming in 2024. There will be a demo during the Steam Next Fest in June, later in June. Project Z Beyond Order. I'm pretty sure Project Z has been around for a little while. It's a co-op first-person shooter where it takes place during an alternate scenario of World War II. A group of soldiers with unique abilities take on a mission to discover a Nazi experiment on a remote island. They aim to discover covert plans and stop schemes related to Project Z. The Nazis' plans are to use zombies to win the war. Where have you heard that before? Build a hideout, upgrade weapons, select missions, solve puzzles, and more. That's coming out later this year on the major platforms. The Transylvania Adventure of Simon Quest. I've already talked about this one before, but it's kind of like a parody of the classic Castlevania games. Essentially, the main character needs to resurrect Dracula because I'm guessing the character from the original Castlevania already killed him, so your character wants to resurrect him just to kill him again, which is kind of a funny idea. That'll be releasing in 2025. Urban Myth Disillusion Center. I don't know. This title is a very strange one. It's a pixel art adventure game. I guess it's like a side-scrolling adventure game or something like that. The trailer was interesting. I'll give it that. There was a lot of flashy sections to it. It's coming out in 2024, kind of anime-esque, I guess you could say. 2024 there. Cozy Dungeons. This one also was kind of like, that's kind of interesting, huh? This is a dungeon crawler mixed with interior decorating. As you don't just conquer dungeons, you also redecorate them and sell them to customers to make money. With the money you rebuild from your adventures, you get to buy better weapons and upgrades. I found this one to be very interesting. It's something like I love these genre mashups that you don't think will work, but by golly, it'll probably work. It's very cute too. I love the kind of like the character designs and stuff like that. So if you want to check this out, that will be available, I believe, sometime this year, and you can wishlist it now, of course. Double Snake. This is a 2.5D retro platformer inspired by Klonoa and Tomba. You grab, shake, throw, and kick your way to defend your island home. The graphic style is very PS1-esque, like Klonoa. And that's, out of all the things to say, it does look way more Klonoa than anything else. But there's some things that are really, really fun in here. There's some giraffes riding rocket launchers. There's like some sort of like cat who's got button eyes. There's some dancing. There's like a Dead Space original kind of boss fight where you're going around in a circle trying to beat it. That's coming soon. You can wishlist it on Steam right now. The Land of the Magnates. The musical adventure has you using music to battle foes as you hit notes to send music magic at them. Sounds kind of interesting. But it's got a little bit of that like Guitar Hero flair to it, I guess, because you do use like rhythm based moments, but then you also have like these side scrolling sections where you battle with the music. So yeah, kind of cool looking. It draws inspiration from Prince of Persia, of course. And that'll be available later this year. Has a demo available on Steam right now. Creatures of Ava, we've talked about this a couple times. This is a game where like you crash land on a planet and the planet is infested with some sort of goop that's causing the animals to be evil, I guess, and there's like a native population there. You gotta try and help them out even if they don't want it. Yeah, it's like a third-person game where it's not like you're killing the animals; you're curing them of their infection with your magic staff, and then you play music and whatever to, I guess, lead them to places to help them out. It does look good, but I don't know if this is gonna be like a game for me. It's coming in 2024, of course. You can play the demo on June 10th. Egging On. This is one that I also was really interested in, even though it's a pretty basic concept, and it kind of reminds me of that I Am Fish game or whatever it was called. Essentially, you play as an egg, and you're trying to platform your way up to the top of the chicken coop. It's a very much physics-based game where you're using this egg to try and get to the top. It's inspired by games like Getting Over It. And if you fall from too great of a height, you will break. But you will have the ability to mend your shell after some time. You're like a little yolk, and then you mend your shell after a little while. Of course, one false move can send you all the way back down to the bottom. There are multiple skins for your egg as well, which is kind of fun. This looks pretty cool. I definitely am interested in that. You can wishlist it now. No release date yet for that. Probably sometime this year or next year. Motor Slice is a open world style game where you'll be hacking and slashing robots made out of construction vehicles, I guess. The basic enemy that I saw in the trailer was one that just had like it was like one of those dozer claws, I guess, and it's on a little tread, I guess. You'll go up against these construction vehicles, you'll climb and move over them, and attempt to destroy every machine in the ruins of a megastructure. It doesn't look too bad. Action platformer, hack and slash type game. I'm guessing the bosses are going to be larger than life, seeing as you need to jump on top of them. This is coming out in 2025. The Secret of the Crystal Mountain is an adventure game where you play as a fox and travel and explore areas doing quests for the inhabitants, solve puzzles, gather keys, and explore a series of islands on the ground and in the sky. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, I don't know, I was going to say Little Gator game, but it has, this one is definitely, I guess it kind of reminds me of a lot of those kind of games where, you're using a parachute, or you're using like a sword to not kill things, but just kind of work your way through puzzles and stuff like that. It looks like you also could use like a little birdie on your back to try and find keys as well with the birdie, which is kind of fun. So if you want to check that out, this will be available. They didn't say, but it will be coming to Steam and Switch. Little Problems is a detective game about big murders or conspiracies. It's a cozy detective game, apparently, even though it's about murdering. Essentially, you play as like this kid who's, I don't know. It's so weird. They say it's a, oh, haha. It was a joke. It's not about murders. It's just about your like daily issues. So like trying to find out where your brother went, trying to help out the girl who's crying at the restaurant, etc., etc. Haha, very funny. It's coming in winter this year. Day of the Shell is a strategy roguelike game based around small tactical maps, kind of like Mario and Rabbids in a way. You'll have a variety of abilities and gain skills along with different cards to give you new abilities and equipment. The graphic style is nice. It's a top-down perspective, like I said, kind of like Mario and Rabbids, the Rabbids games. So if you want to check that out, that's a pretty cool one. There is no release date yet for that one. Cataclysmo is a... Oh, I think I talked about this before. You build up your castle and you try and defend from hordes of enemies attacking you. It's an RTS-style game. Design your fortress, you train your soldiers, and you try and defeat these enemies who kind of remind me. It kind of reminds me of the Battle of Helm's Deep a little bit, and I'm wondering if there is a bit of inspiration there with the whole castle walls thing. But this looks really cool. Coming from the same people who did Moonlighter, which is a pretty good game as well. Definitely would like to check this one out. There's a creative mode included in as well if you don't want to go up against the hordes of enemies. You can wishlist it now. There is a demo available as well, and it's coming out on July 16th. Grit and Valor 1949. This is a game set in a steampunk era with mechs and other things. World War II didn't end in 1945. It kept going. This is a roguelike game. Actually, it's a roguelike combining strategy as well as you attempt to push through a campaign through various regions. Every region has a boss, and you must get to Germany to deploy a giant EMP. Yeah, this one is like a top-down tactical game, but it's also a roguelite, so if you lose your units, you have to restart. Maybe it's kind of like XCOM in that way, I'm not sure, but yeah, kind of a cool aesthetic, definitely. I like the idea of this game. In practice, though, I don't know if the gameplay looks good enough for me to check it out, but this is coming in 2025, so they have time to work on it a little bit more. I think that the trailer is a bit rough. Krieg's Front Tactics. This is what? Another mech game. Roguelite turn-based mech tactics game. They didn't really show too much gameplay per se. It's a bit like it's kind of like a polygonal textures to it, which is kind of a neat art style. The map that you go across kind of reminds me of like Advanced Wars, but the main missions themselves are like this polygon kind of world where you fight in tactics kind of things there. There's a Krieg's Front Tactics Prologue, which is available to download on Steam right now. The full game is coming July 18th. Star Miner. This game takes you to space, and the action will be taking place in real time as you try and take down asteroids and other ships as well. You'll have to defend your platforms and yourself from pirates and et cetera, et cetera. Looks kind of cool. We don't get too many spaceship kind of games where you're just kind of like flying around trying to destroy stuff. Chorus came out a few years ago, and I really liked that. This one doesn't look like that, but I always like to see a spaceship game out there. Star Miner. I don't believe there's a release date for that. It releases in 2024. Chocolate Factory. Kind of like Factoro, except with chocolate. Chocolate Factory, you build a insane factory, and you try and defend against the candy monsters, marshmallows, and gingerbread man to protect the ultimate sweet-making empire. Yeah, it's very much like Factorio. I can definitely see that from the design of the game and how you place things. So yeah, essentially, you're trying to move ingredients to locations to make them into candies and stuff like that, and then you sell them off. And like I said, you defend yourself against the various evil candy creatures out there. If you like these kind of games, this will definitely be up your alley. This comes out June 18th. Rebots. This was another game that I thought looked kind of cool. Essentially, you have missions to go to each planet and mine resources and make sure that they are sustainable, so that the robots keep working while you are off doing other things. Once you configure the loop, your robots will go around and make all the steel or mining or whatever. Definitely looks like a cool little game. I like the art style a lot for this one, and I got kind of like a puzzle game too, where you need to position things properly and make sure that they're all working in the right order, in the right way. Kind of reminds me of Game Builder Garage that was on the Switch in a way, where you're just making connections and the robots do those things. Kind of fun though. I thought that it looked pretty cool. Coming out sometime in 2023. There is a demo available for this one right now. Monterona. Decorate homes and small streets in this cozy game, and it'll allow you to see other people around. Build in the streets, the buildings, and share with other people. If I remember correctly, this is like a game where it's like, oh, recreate the events of your grandma's stories, and people can kind of decipher them in many different ways. I think it looks kind of interesting. I think it looks kind of interesting. There is a demo available on Steam right now. There is no release date for the game just yet. Beloved Rapture is a retro-inspired RPG, so it's like a top-down pixel art adventure, but it has some modern conveniences. There's secrets to solve, NPCs to meet, job boards to do, mini games to complete, and other things to find. There are no random encounters. All the encounters are on the map, but you'll need to be careful when you fight. It's a turn. The turn order is based on speed, and there are abilities that will modify that stuff. So, your basic RPG elements right there. This one is coming later this year. There was a demo available right now. Dungeon Clawler. This one also really piqued my interest. As a person who's a fan of claw machines, I do partake in the occasional claw game. This one looks pretty fun. It's a roguelite deck builder, I guess, in a way, where you fight in turn-based battles, but your weapons are decided by what you grab from the claw machine, which is pretty funny. I do really like that a lot. There's multiple characters to use, multiple weapons, of course, and many, many, many decisions to make throughout the course of the game. Very interesting. Definitely will be trying this one out. They didn't have a release date for it, but it's supposed to be releasing sometime in 2024. There is a demo on Steam available right now. Wild Tactics is a tactical combat game inspired by XCOM. It has base building and recruitment, among other features as well. The trailer itself was very cinematic. It's a very cartoonish kind of thing. Lots of anthropomorphic characters, some of them being bludgeoned to death, other ones being shot. Essentially, I believe you try and break into like these mafia places and steal their money, I suppose. They didn't show any actual gameplay, so I don't even know if the game's going to look like this, but we'll see, I guess, in a full reveal. Yeah, this is just an announcement. It's supposed to be releasing in PC sometime in the future. Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire. Travel the skies and make friends as Glenn Windwalker. Customize your airship, prepare for tactical dogfights, and explore more in Sky Ocean Wings for Hire, a classically styled JRPG with a Ghibli-inspired world. This is releasing in 2024. It looks nice. I'm not going to say it looks bad by any means. It does look kind of nice. If you want to check that out, you can always check out the trailer. Bittersweet Birthday is a 2D exploratory action game with a focus on story, drawing inspiration from a variety of genres. This boss rush type encounters, dodge rolling, and bullet hell projectiles will have you on your toes. So this one didn't look that great in my opinion, but if you want to check that out, there you go. It's coming out in 2025. Escape from Ever After is a Paper Mario-inspired RPG where you battle against a giant corporation with other employees as you push back against the evils of capitalism. And you can definitely see the Paper Mario inspired stuff here all over the place, not only with the character designs, but also with like the goofiness of the game, the world of the game, and how the battles take place, where you need to do specific things like tapping A or, sucking up whatever in order to do your attacks. So Escape from Ever After is coming out sometime in July? No. Releasing sometime this year, but there will be a free demo available on July 19th. How the hell do you even say this one? Aethermancer? Prepare, advance, die, repeat in a roguelike game. Prepare to fight over 50 monsters, which involves manipulating elements and aether while using your own monsters against them. So it's kind of like, I don't know, Pokemon in a way, but I believe, yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's like a 3v3 style battle, so, and each creature, of course, has like a weakness. So, like, if you use Frost against a fire type, you know, it'll stagger them and cause massive damage. The basics, you know, if you want to check this one out, it's a bit of a twist on your usual like Pokemon kind of style game. It will release on Steam, but there is a closed alpha version available right now if you join their Discord. Echo Generation Midnight Edition is a turn-based adventure coming out on PC, and for the first time, the game will be released on Nintendo Switch. This is a remaster of the original game, which I did not know. It adds fast travel, quest log, combat updates, and a dozen new languages. The trailer for this one is set to private, so I can't look at it again. I do like to look at a trailer just to remind myself what the game looks like. This will be releasing on Steam on June 19th for $25. If you want to play it in other languages, I believe it's coming out at a little bit of a later date, but there you go. The Axis Unseen. This is a Legolas simulator where you play as a bow-wielding person who can, use this bow's magical powers. You'll hit beasts with arrows, including like explosive arrows, fire arrows, poison arrows, etc. You can also battle them with, I guess, like you have a little kind of like a melee weapon. You explore and solve puzzles in an open world, which will have you in battling enormous skeletons or giant tree folk. Like I said, it kind of, you can kind of live out your fantasy of Legolas in this game. Looks pretty cool though. I think this does look very cool. It's coming in October 2024. No demo for this one. Slime Heroes. It's a slime battling to save the world. You can use different magical weapons and create your own magical abilities to express yourself. It's a co-op game as well, so if you want to play with multiple people, you can. It kind of has that Slime Rancher kind of style to it, of course. This will be available sometime this year. There is a demo available right now. Dead Link is a cyberpunk roguelite first-person shooter featuring non-stop action. It is on PC currently, but it's coming to consoles soon. The game does look pretty stylish, does look pretty cool. Lots of different weapons to use, a few different abilities to use to get around the areas. It's launching on PlayStation and Xbox on the 30th of July. Elise. This is a roguelite action platformer where you fight hordes of robotic enemies in a roguelite action platformer game. No, really. So the game will be arriving on consoles as well as PC soon. It's a 2D pixel art game as well. It looks fine. You know, it didn't really catch my eye, but that's coming soon. There is a demo available right now. Grifford Academy is an RPG that features several young characters who explore the magical book realm, where decisions shape the characters, impacting both story and mechanics. The graphics aren't what I expected for a game where you go inside of books, but there's a good diverse group of characters here to play around with. The demo is available on Steam right now. The game is coming out in 2024. Bloodless is a black and white with red aesthetic kind of game, mixing Japanese aesthetics into it as well. It's a pixel art adventure. It's a bit of a hack and slash too. It's got an interesting style to it. It's coming August 19th. You can play the demo on June 10th. Toxic Crusaders, you've heard about this one a couple times. This is the TMNT inspired beat 'em up. That is all. I believe it's also inspired by an old, or maybe it's inspired. I don't know. It's a retro beat 'em up. It's kind of what you expect. 4 different characters to use, maybe even more characters to use. Honestly, all with their own little fighting styles. You'll battle enemies with fists, weapons, and more. Fully voiced cutscenes accessible for up to 4-player co-op. This will release in 2024. Develated is an ultra-violent FPS RPG. I believe this one's been in early access for quite some time, but maybe there's like a 1.0 coming out soon. It's been on my wish list for a while. I don't know why. This doesn't really look great in my opinion, but it's essentially like a a bullet hell type game, whatever. It's got some style to it, but it's a very crazy looking game. So 1.0 release is coming in October. Iron Meat is a Contra-esque game where you'll travel through levels, shoot through them, and get upgrades as well in a side-scrolling adventure. You can play with co-op with a friend against the deadly enemies as well. Looks fine, definitely Contra-inspired. I thought that when I was watching the trailer originally too. Some pretty interesting boss fights as well in there. So, the visual style is pretty good. This is coming out in 2024, late 2024. There will be a demo available on PC June 10th. Beyond the Ice Palace 2. What is this? It's like a side-scrolling Metroidvania. Inspired by Castlevania, of course. Upgrade your character, the Cursed King, as you explore and travel about using your chain to whip foes, especially the colossal demon bosses. So this is a Metroidvania / roguelite, which is kind of interesting, I suppose. But wield the chains that imprisoned you, like Kratos. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I don't know what else to say about that. Renane. This is oh boy, I'm already running out of steam here. It's another side-scrolling pixel art game, inspired by Shovel Knight, I suppose. It's a cute-looking game for sure. Don't get me wrong. It's just not really catching my eye. You know what I'm saying? So that is coming sometime. There is a demo available right now. Immortal Hunters is a co-op beat-em-up RPG. You take on the role of one of 4 immortal hunters and go through the world exploring secrets of the world and discovering the story. It's another side-scrolling action game. And like I said, you can play it with, I think, 2 people, which is pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of, like, Darkest Dungeon a little bit, except you have more freedom, of course, to walk across the area that you're battling. The creature designs are pretty gruesome, pretty ugly, which is how it's supposed to be, of course. It'll be releasing sometime this year. There is a demo available on Steam. Pinball Spire. We've had a couple of pinball-type games, but we haven't had one in quite some time. Yoku's Island Express is obviously a favorite of mine. I really like that. But this is a Pinballvania. Kind of like Yoku's Island Express, except it's a little bit less colorful, I would say. You still use like your controller to activate switches in the world, but you just play like this little ball guy, and you're going through this pinball world. It looks really cool. I really like the idea of this one. Yeah, this is a genre that we don't see a lot of. The pinball world. This is coming to PC. It does have a demo available on Steam. Chain Staff. This is a side-scrolling, kind of has like a very interesting art style to it. It kind of looks like you're in like one of those kind of like obscure paintings, where like the clocks are melting and stuff like that. But it looks like you essentially play as the Chain Staff and you rip your way through enemies in a side-scrolling world. This is just a teaser though. There is no release date yet. There will be a full reveal in a future event. Storm Edge is a co-op roguelite action game where you put your skills to the test as a talented mage. This is like a pixel art adventure, top-down kind of adventure where you go through this open world and kill enemies with magical abilities. This is releasing on PC in early access in 2024. Munch. This is a pretty fun-looking one. In this game, you essentially eat various creatures, and depending on what you eat, your little munch guy gets like abilities based on the creatures that you ate. So if you eat an octopus, you get tentacles. If you eat, I don't know, a spider, you get multiple legs. I don't know, but it looks pretty cool. I like the idea of this one. I think that I'll be definitely I definitely have this one wishlisted. It's dropping sometime in 2024. There is a demo available for this one. Constance is a platforming, a side-scroller game where you help people solve puzzles and travel about in a Hollow Knight-inspired Metroidvania starring a paintbrush-wielding artist. The world is based on the mental state of the main character, and you'll go through the areas trying to understand her personal struggles, her past, and her psyche. It's definitely, I mean, you can definitely see the Hollow Knight-inspired moments in the trailer. It does look very good, so it's not like it looks bad or anything like that. This is coming sometime in 2025. And there's a demo available right now. Somber Echoes. Prepare to reflect bullets and slash down foes in this Metroidvania, where you play as Adrestia, attempting to stop your twin sister from destroying the universe. It's a side-scroller, as you may have guessed. It's got kind of like that cyberpunk aesthetic to it, which is kind of cool. Fighting various robotic creatures and some mutants as well, I suppose. You can wishlist that now if you so desire. It's releasing sometime in the future. Frog Gun Encore. This is a standalone expansion / sequel for the Frog Gun game, which I played when it came out. It was pretty good. Frog Gun Encore builds upon the original as the protagonist has grown up and gained a friend beyond her frog gun, so the game can now be played in local co-op. Renata and her friend Jake travel the world to prevent the return of the evil Beelzebub, with Frog Gun Encore releasing on June 25th. Crypt Custodian. This is Zelda meets Metroid in an upcoming game by Kyle Thompson. You play as Pluto, a mischievous cat sentenced to an afterlife of being the janitor forever. So, yeah, essentially, you clean up the afterlife, and you meet other ghosts, battle beasts, and explore while dealing with those who have problems with moving on. It's a top-down, like, hack and slash kind of game. Looks kind of like a bullet hell as well at times. It's kind of an interesting idea. Coming sometime in 2024, summer of 2024. I apologize. Labyrinth of the Demon King. This is a Silent Hill-inspired game. I believe it has a PS1 aesthetic to it, which is always kind of creepy on just a regular level there. Labyrinth of the Demon King is inspired by feudal Japanese survival horror genre. You get a first-person perspective, kind of like the older From Software games, which I'm blanking on the name of right now. Though I last time I tried to bring up the same games, I also blanked on it. Doesn't matter. PS1 graphics. This game is trying to recreate the experience of older games by including some elements like loading screen doors. So yeah, I mean, it looks really good for like a modern PS1 kind of game, especially with like the first-person battle element in it, and the creature designs look absolutely horrific. So that's what more could you ask for? It's going to be releasing sometime in 2025. Under the Island is a 90s-inspired 2D action RPG from the same people... Oh, by people who were from Daedalic Entertainment. They formed a new studio. Under the Island has you exploring around a new world, battling monsters, and solving puzzles while discovering secrets in a game that is a 90s nostalgia trip. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of like that remake of A Link's Awakening. Yeah, that's quite the best way to describe it. It's pretty much Link's Awakening, but you play as like a baseball cap wearing tomboy. So yeah, if you want to check that out, that'll be coming sometime this year, I think. Maybe, I'm not sure. And that was pretty much it for the Guerrilla Collective. Let me know what you thought of that one down below. I thought this one was decent. I thought it was pretty good. I liked a lot of what they showed off here. There's some cool stuff. Obviously, I was a bit more hyped in the moment because you're watching it and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool looking. Oh, that's pretty cool looking. When you're reading the descriptions and kind of talking about the basic trailer that they showed off, it's not always going to be as interesting as watching it live. But yeah, I had a good time watching it. So I thought it was pretty good. And if you want to check it out, all these are of course available in uploaded form on the respective YouTube channels. So. But yeah, that's the Guerrilla Collective 2024. Let's move on to Summer Games Fest opening day. The announcements. Gonna need a lot of water today, folks. All right. The Summer Games Fest opening day showcase started off with a bang with LEGO Horizon Adventures. This is a pretty cool looking thing here. If you don't know, LEGO games kind of... they have a lot of LEGO, like in the characters and enemies and some of the environment that you can destroy and stuff like that. But they aren't fully LEGO. There's only a couple games that are fully LEGO, and this one is being added on to that, where it's a fully LEGO adventure. Everything is made out of LEGO, from the characters to the monsters to the environment. Everything is LEGO, which is great. I love that a lot. I think that the aesthetics are going to be fantastic for that one. It's a little bit different from your average LEGO game, though. Instead of it being like a mission based, I guess story based kind of thing where you go from one level to the next, blah 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 blah. It seems to be actually an open world co-op adventure. You play as Aloy and a friend. Customization options galore, of course. It's obviously a LEGO game. The most interesting thing here is, like, yes, it's coming to PC, but it's coming not just to Epic Games, it's coming also to Steam. And then not only is it coming to PS5, but it's also coming to Nintendo Switch, which is kind of crazy. And obviously this will still have the goofiness of a regular LEGO game. The voice actors for Aloy came back to voice the character, so it might be a bit jarring for people who have played the original games, but I'm sure we'll get used to it after a little while. After that, Quidditch Champions. We kind of knew about this one, but obviously, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, do we really know? Quidditch Championships. This is the Quidditch game that everyone wanted to be a part of the latest Harry Potter release, but it wasn't there. It's got more of a cartoony style, of course. This is launching on PC via Epic Game Store, Steam, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox on September 3rd. It's kind of what you expect from a Harry Potter Quidditch game. So there's really nothing to say other than it looks like Quidditch, which is great. No More Room in Hell 2 is arriving in early access sometime near Halloween time. This is a first-person shooter zombie game, which is going to launch in early access, like I said, near Halloween. It looks... I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this like genre of like early access, open world kind of games, but it did look pretty good. Maybe needed a bit more like gore on the zombies per se. They didn't seem to really be affected by your bullets. The other cool thing is, like, if a survivor dies, they come back as a zombie, kind of like a couple other games, like Zombie, that Zombie U game that happened. But yeah, if you want to check that out, it looks kind of cool. I guess. Star Wars Outlaws had a little showing. It's not like they actually really showed anything off. Obviously, they're waiting for the Ubisoft Forward or whatever it's called to do that, which is on Monday. But this will be an open world Star Wars game. They showed in the trailer that Lando Calrissian will be showing up, so that's kind of cool. They also showed another look at Jabba the Hutt and stuff like that. Nothing really too crazy. We'll definitely be seeing more about this game in the Ubisoft showcase, but I mean, as much as people want to bitch and moan, I'm sure a lot of people will still be getting this game, including myself. It does look pretty good so far. All right, one of my favorite announcements, Civilization 7 was revealed. That's coming to PC and consoles in 2025. This is the first game in the Sid Meier's Civilization series since the release of Civilization 6. It really hasn't been that long, but I wasn't like super crazy about Civilization 6. Even though I liked it, I didn't have the same staying power as Civilization 5 for me and its expansions. I'll definitely be checking this out when it comes around in 2025. Very excited about that. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, another year, another Dragon Ball game. This is coming out October 11th. If you don't know, it's a Dragon Ball game, and if you don't know, it follows the events of the anime, and you can change some events if you so desire. There are 6 characters shown off in the footage, including Goku, Frieza, Buu, Vegeta. There was a couple other ones as well. If you pre-order the game, it'll include another mystery fighter to play as well. In my opinion, the last Dragon Ball game to play was Dragon Ball Fighter Z or whatever it was called. I really liked that one. The rest of them, like the Xenoverse ones or whatever they're called, have not been great. And this one just kind of looks the same as the other like games that have come out in the past couple of years. So it's unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? Batman Arkham Shadow. They played a trailer for this one. It's coming to MetaQuest 3 exclusively, which is bullshit in my opinion. The new footage of this spin-off game aired during the Summer Games Fest, of course, revealing a cinematic look at Gotham and Rat King, who is probably like the son or daughter of Ratcatcher, who in Arkham City, it's revealed that he was kind of killed. The Riddler riddle. You scan the mask of the character in like a ventilation shaft near Joker's Wonderland, and it says that he was like dragged kicking and screaming into the gates, and he was never heard from again, most likely because he was killed in there. So the Rat Catcher can't be in the game, but Rat King certainly can, who is the main villain of the game. There's a couple of Easter eggs in there as well with nods to other Gotham criminals. Yeah, I mean, I would be excited for this. I'd be very excited for this if it wasn't just coming to MetaQuest 3. So, yeah, there you go. The new voice for Batman also doesn't sound too bad, in my opinion, but that's just me. Street Fighter 6 is getting some new characters. The new characters include M. Bison and Elena. There are 2 characters from Fatal Fury coming to the game, Terry and Mai as well. So it's a crossover that's been in the making for many, many years. Which they already crossed over technically in Super Smash Brothers, by the way. But it's cool to see the game getting more content. I never finished Street Fighter 6, the story mode, but it was pretty fun. All right, one of the cooler things that happened was Blumhouse revealed that they have a new game studio, and they're working on like 5 or so games of varying horror-esque type games. So they have a couple here. They have Eyes Out. No. They have Fear the Spotlight, Grave Seasons, Sleep Awake, Crystal Theaters of Idols, and more. And all the games looked pretty good. I'm not going to talk about each and every one, but there was one game that was like a first person, like the robots only move, or the things only move when you're looking away from them, which was pretty interesting. There was like a pixel art game where it's like Harvest Moon or whatever. And but you get to kill people in it. There was another one that the Fear the Spotlight game shows up in a couple of showcases here, and that was actually pretty cool. It's like a Ouija board, PS1 inspired kind of game. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff there. Definitely Blumhouse games. Hopefully Blumhouse games are better than their movies. I did not like Megan or McThrean. And I also did not like the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, so hopefully they're a little bit better in the games department. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is coming back with Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. This is an old school arcade style beat 'em up, kind of like TMNT, where you play as one of the various Power Rangers and you go through the streets and beat up evil dudes. But in a twist, right when I thought that it was going to be a generic beat 'em up, there are third person like auto scroller sections where you're firing guns, you're running with mechs and stuff like that. So I think there's going to be much more than just a beat 'em up, which is really cool. Love that. Mecha Break. There's a beta test coming for in August. This is like a mech building game. No specific date for the release date or the beta test so far, but the presentation revealed that you'll be able to build mechs and stuff like that, kind of like your Armored Cores or Gundams or whatever. So I guess there's an August beta test. So no specific date for the beta test, but it's coming in August. The First Descendant is getting a July release date. This is a free-to-play sci-fi looter shooter. The First Descendant has a release date of July 2nd for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. There's a new trailer highlighting the fast-paced exosuit action. Fans can also expect to hear more about launch elements and events when the date grows closer. Alan Wake 2 is getting DLC. The Night Springs DLC is actually out right now. You can play it right now. I don't know if you have to download it or if it just automatically gets applied to the game. I believe it's free, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong about that. So there's 3 different storylines with 3 different characters. You can control... actually controls Jesse Faden is in the 3rd story for the game, which is pretty cool there too. So really a crossover, just like in the original Control. There's a Alan Wake like side mission in there. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But they also revealed that there is a physical version of Alan Wake 2 coming out. There's a collector's edition as well that comes with like the light source that Alan Wake uses. The physical edition looks pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna get it because I already own it digitally, and I'm not gonna spend $60 for another game that I already own. But for the people who waited, your patience has paid off. So there you go. Skate. They reveal a trailer saying, "Hey, we're still working on it." This was the Skate, I guess, reboot, I guess you could call it. It's looking all right. Obviously, Skate 3 is like very highly regarded in the skateboarding video game community. So I don't know if they'll be able to live up to that, but they're still in pre-alpha mode, so we're probably not going to see too much about it in the near future. But they just wanted to say, hey, we're working on it. Here's some footage, and if you want to sign up for a playtest, you can go over to the website and do that. After this, though, the showcase kind of started to fall a bit flat. They showed off a new Valorant thing. It's getting a console launch. The console launch is coming on June 14th. There's a limited beta test on June 14th. The full console launch window is sometime in the future. So there you go. Among Us, I guess this was kind of interesting. Among Us showed off that they were... The developers behind Among Us, called Inner Sloth, reveal that they're opening up a publishing studio called Outer Sloth to help indie games get funded and be published. It's kind of like what Video Game Donkey did with Big Mode, except it's on a bit of a bigger scale. They have more games lined up and ready to go. So that was really cool, really interesting. They also revealed that the Among Us... they also showed off a bit of a sizzle reel for the Among Us TV show. They didn't have any voice acting in it, though, which is kind of crazy. But they have a lot of big voices for the cast. But yeah, it's nice to see them out there. Also cool to see them helping out other indie developers because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, Among Us was a huge success, but that's kind of like a drop in the pan for indie games. So if they can find good indie games out there and promote them, I'm sure people will flock to them because it's Inner Sloth. They made Among Us. That was great. Let's look at this game. Kind of like how Video Game Donkey is doing his thing, where he really boosts up like a game and says like this is going to be the game, and it is the game. So yeah, it's cool to see more companies doing that, I guess. Dune Awakening got a story trailer for, of course, Paul Atreides. This is an MMO open world survival game in the realm of Dune. So the cinematic trailer, I guess you can like see some different timelines, I guess. Apparently it's going to reappear at Gamescom in August, but it's going to launch eventually for PC and PS5 and Xbox, but nothing new really shown off there. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 had a trailer at the showcase ahead of its launch this year. I really have high hopes for this. I really do hope that this comes out and it's a bit more accessible to fans. Just like I said before, there's really nothing new for me to say right now. The trailer looked good. No release date yet, though, but they are planning on launching it sometime this year. A game called Slitterhead had a bit of a gameplay trailer. This is coming from the Silent Hill creator Kiichiro Toyama. And we've already seen the trailer for this, or a different trailer for this a little while ago, but he came back at the the Summer Games Fest here. It's an action-focused title from Boca Game Studio, which recently formed a couple years ago. The game is, they're trying to get it out by November 8th, 2024. This one has pretty crazy creature designs and stuff like that. If you know Silent Hill, you know that it's probably going to be kind of crazy, but yeah, there you go. Delta Force Hawk Ops is a free-to-play first-person shooter that's getting an alpha PC test in July. It's a grounded first-person shooter, and the military shooter has several locations and a bunch of different guns, of course, to use. They also revealed that a Black Hawk Down single-player premium, expansion or whatever will be joining the game as well, which is pretty cool. Definitely felt very nostalgia for Black Hawk Down at that moment. So that's pretty cool. I'll probably just play that Black Hawk Down, game or single player mode. I guess I was wrong. I guess the showcase kept going strong until something else later. So I guess we'll. I forget what I said earlier. Killer Bean, the video game, is dropping in early access in summer. This is the tongue-in-cheek third-person shooter based off of the Killer Bean movie, which was pretty goofy. The ragdoll physics are on point in this game. It's actually being made by one single person, the same guy who made the movie itself. They showed off some cars, jet skis, etc., breakdancing while shooting your guns and stuff like that. First-person and third-person perspectives, and so much more. So that looks pretty. It looks like it's going to be pretty good. Like I said, it's coming in early access. It's probably going to be like a open world kind of like sandbox kind of game. Wander Stop. This is coming from Annapurna Interactive. This is coming from the same guy who made the Stanley Parable. He revealed his new game, Wander Stop. It's a cozy farming sim that might have a few secrets to hide. So essentially what you're doing is you're making like tea and stuff for the fairy tale creatures, I guess, or the fairy tale people in the fairy tale town. But I guess your character has some sort of like PTSD or something going on. So there's definitely more to this game than what meets the eye from the trailer, as you know from other games that this guy has worked on, like the Stanley Parable. New World Aeternum has an October 15th release date for PC and consoles. This is the upgraded version of the already existing New World, which has been in early access for quite some time. Also, I believe it was on Epic Games as well. Not much to say about that. And this is where the show started to go downhill. Okay, yes, I remember now. Pal World got a update. There's a new island and some more pals coming around. The update comes out on June 27th. They also are going to add a higher level cap
and being able to receive more pals as well. Monster Hunter Wilds had a small trailer. I'm like I said before with the state of play, I'm not super interested in this. I'm happy for the people who are interested in this game, but I'm just not interested in this game. So I don't have much to say about the trailer. It looked like Monster Hunter Wilds. Kunsu Gami Path of the Gods. This is a pretty cool looking game. They showed, I believe this was showed off at a state of play last year or sometime earlier this year. But essentially, you help save the people from the yokai infested world, and that has a release date now of July 19th. There was a couple of other things from. Wow, the article is missing something here. Let me talk about Phantom Blade Zero real quick. This was the closer for the game, the summer game. So it wasn't like a crazy closer. It looked cool. I mean, obviously it's a it's a Sekiro-inspired third-person samurai game where you fight in like these crazy mutant-type creatures. It doesn't look too bad. I think it looks really good. But yeah, there was like a mobile game from the Clash of Clans guys that was announced. They don't have the trailer here in this article, which is unfortunate, but it was a pretty cringy kind of thing. It had a bunch of celebrities in there. It was way too long of a showcase. And then also the competitor to Valorant, the finals also had like a lengthy trailer as well, showing off some new characters and stuff coming to the game, which was very uninteresting. But yeah, that was pretty much it. The Summer Games Fest, I mean, it was good for about 3/4 of the thing, and then during the later half, it just started, or maybe the later quarter, it just started to fizzle out. And sure, there were still some good things showing off during that later quarter, but I mean, it was like it was a real snooze fest by the end of it, with just these long trailers for things that have already been revealed or already been around for quite some time, and just like who really cares about the finals or this mobile game coming from the Clash of Clans guys? I don't think many people really want to see that big of a thing for it. Like, if you're gonna do a big showcase, do it for one of the games that people are actually gonna care about. You know, show off more of. I don't know, Sid Meier or Dragon Ball or something. I don't know, anything. And then the finale of being Phantom Blade Zero. Like, yeah, I like what I see about Phantom Blade Zero, but as a closer, it's not like super crazy, right? I think a good closer would have been like maybe ending with the Alan Wake 2 stuff or the Lego Horizon stuff. I mean, I know you want to put that stuff early on so that the people who kind of tune out early on get something to talk about, but. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was fine. I enjoyed what I saw. Oh, here's some. Oh, come on! Oh my God, this. I'm gonna blame IGN on this one, folks. There's more to this that that they didn't talk about in the main article. Like, fuck you. I knew I was missing some stuff in here. Okay, so Cuff Bust is a cutesy prison break game developed by one guy. Where you play as like these gummy bear type characters and you break out of prison. Looks kind of cool. Neva is a side-scrolling game made by the same people as who did Grease, where you it's like a hack and slash with like a little wolf character with you. Black Myth Wukong got a new CGI trailer. The game is coming out sooner than you expect this year. Metaphor Refantasio is coming from the same people as Persona. They had a nice little segment in there talking about the different characters that you will meet and play as. Tears of Metal was a really cool looking game. It's like a Dynasty Warriors except you're Scottish, and I love the art style for it. It looked really cool. Battle Crush, I don't remember what that was. Boy, it'd be nice if this article talked about these games that I wanted to talk about. That's too bad, I guess. Dark and Darker is like a first-person dungeon crawler, cooperative dungeon crawler. There's like PvPvE, which is kind of cool. What else? Battle Aces is an RTS game that looks really good, coming from another single kind of developer. It kind of reminded me of Planetary Annihilation, except a little bit more toned down, I guess, in terms of like unit management. But that looks really good too. I love the art style there. Sonic X Shadow Generations, they showed off that there's going to be a whole new campaign for Shadow, of course, and then the remastered levels look really good there. Mars First Logistics, it's a little Oh, whatchamacallit? It's a game. It certainly is a game. Karen is a hardcore rock climbing game, much different than something like Just Stand, but it kind of looked similar. Where you're trying to find your foot in handheld holds, and you're trying to get up there before your stamina runs out. And Enotria, this last song had a nice CG trailer. There's a demo available for that now. I mean, it looks pretty good. I do want to play that. I don't remember what Canyons is. I'm sorry, I don't remember what that is. I'm blaming IGN on this one for sure. They definitely dropped the ball here. There's so many games that they just didn't put in the freaking article. I apologize about that. I really do. I'm sorry. But the Summer Games Fest the opening day was pretty good. I enjoyed what I saw, for the most part. So, what more can you ask for? All right, the Day of the Devs, 2024. I double-checked during my drink break and made sure that there was nothing missing from this IGN article, okay? So, now if there's something wrong, blame me, okay? The last one, though, blame IGN. That's an L on their part. I don't normally use IGN for these types of things, but they were the most consistent. They had the most consistent thing for the Summer Games Fest opening day. So I just decided to use them because I was like, okay. Anyway, first up, Simpler Times. This is coming from Stone Skip Studios and I Am 8-Bit. It's this game apparently was shown off last year as well. Players spend time with Tanya, who's getting ready to leave her childhood home. Players will listen to records, look at the stars, build the birdhouse, and do bird watching while doing art. It's a vibes kind of game. It's out today on Steam. You can play it right now. Battle Vision Network from Grindstone Studios reimagines another of the studio's previous games called Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. Battle Vision Network takes place in a different setting, but is a spiritual successor to that last game that I just talked about, where players compete in 1v1 matches, taking turns launching attacks to create color-matched formations of units in attack or defense formation. Players can choose from different teams, each with different strategic benefits and weaknesses, and then customize units further with collectible outfits. This is coming to mobile, PC, and console. It's a very flashy kind of game. It looks very good. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna play it per se, but it does look very flashy. It does look very, very interesting. Karen, I already talked about this. Had a bit more in-depth look at the Day of the Devs. But yeah, I mean, it's essentially what I already talked about. It's a hardcore rock climbing game. You climb up this deadly mountain your player is obsessed with, and they've been climbing. I guess it's kind of like a roguelite as well at times, I suppose. But this is coming in 2025. Pedal Runner is a GBA-style RPG from Nano Park Studios. It's a bit of a throwback to the retro era, where you play as two couriers known as pedal runners who drive around a place called Sapphire Valley, making deliveries in the world where flowers are a fuel source powering beloved virtual pets. Pedal Runner is coming to PC later this year. It looks pretty cool. I mean, for a GBA-inspired game, I'm not complaining about it. It looked kind of cool. Kind of reminded me of like a Pokemon, I guess, riding around on a bicycle, right? Karma the Dark World is coming from a China-based studio. It's a first-person narrative game where you play as a man named Daniel, who exists in a dystopian version of the real world in 1984, where he is an agent of the Leviathan Corporation who dives into people's minds and uncovers the truth behind events. He finds his loyalty to the company challenged by what he discovers, and so it's kind of like a really cool kind of game. The graphic style is interesting, I'll say. Definitely a very interesting looking game. Probably will check that out. It's coming sometime this year. UFO 50 is a collection of 50 different games imagined as if they were released for a fictional video game console by a fictional company called UFO Soft. It's not just mini games. They also promised that the collection has a wide variety of full games ranging from the birth of a fictional company's history. Some are arcade style, some have larger campaigns, all in different genres and all compatible with their own credits. I'm not sure what that means. The games get more advanced as you progress through the company's history, and some even have sequels and ties to other games. So UFO 50 is actually going to be out on September 18th, which is an interesting concept. I really like the idea of this. Kind of going like it kind of reminds me of that that game that came out a while ago. Game Builder. You play as like a guy in your garage and you build like a game. But obviously, this is way more advanced. Like, there's actual games being played. So, definitely might check that out. September 18th for that. Cozy Grove Camp Spirit. This is a sequel to the first Cozy Grove game. Camp Spirit, I guess, was in the original game. You'll befriend ghost bears, help them find peace, collect materials, craft, build, and create a bustling campsite. Camp Spirit is a sequel to the original and is coming exclusively to Netflix games on mobile or subscribers via mobile with no microtransactions or ads. That'll come out June 25th. The graphic style is cutesy, but not really a game that I would play. Korea is a narrative game set in a small, snowy forest. The main character frees a puppy from a trap, and the two work together to return home through the woods, avoiding a group of hunters on their tail that seem intent on capturing the puppy. The journey is told in sound and music without dialogue, which is pretty cool. The puzzles involve the use of sound, and every character is voiced by a unique instrument. This is planned to release sometime next year in 2025. The art style and the graphic style is also very nice, very shadowy, very dark. Kind of reminds me of Don't Starve Together in some cases. A Ranger, a role puzzling adventure. We've talked about this one before. Essentially, this is the one where you move the world pieces to get around. You move in a unique way to battle and to move around in a tile grid formation. And they have a release date. It's coming July 25th, so not too far away. I already talked about Sphere the Spotlight. It's a PS1 era 3D graphics design game. Looks really good. I would definitely check out that trailer for that. Screambound. This is the really cool game I talked about before where you're playing like in a 3D space but also on your 2D Game Boy that you're holding in your hands. It's a very interesting concept. They didn't have a release date, I don't believe. Just sometime this year on Steam, but it's a very interesting looking game. I definitely want to check this one out when it comes around. Very cool, very cool. Zoocosis is a freaky body cam horror sim game where you play as a zookeeper working at a zoo where animals have been infected with some sort of parasite that turns them into mutants, kind of like The Thing, really. The giraffe that they showed off being transformed is kind of crazy looking. You have to save them by creating a vaccine, but you also have to survive them first. Zoocosis even features different endings depending on the player's choices. This is coming out on PC sometime this year, probably in October. That's a very interesting one. Definitely check out the trailer for that. Tom the Post Girl is a game about snooping on your neighbors. And what she finds is when she starts stalking them is not always wholesome or pleasant to observe. Tom the Post Girl is a hand-drawn game with unsettling imagery while being a little cute. It's coming out in 2025. Psychroma is a cyberpunk horror game with a lot to say about identity and the horror of having yours stripped away from you. It's a narrative-focused side-scroller where you play as Haze, a digital medium, putting together memories in a broken cybernetic house, all while rearranging your own memories. It's coming out soon on PC. Looks kind of cool, but yeah, we'll see. Building relationships. This is a pretty fun-looking one. Essentially, it's kind of like They described it as a short hike but stupid, which is very weird to say. You play as a house, like a literal flipping and rolling house on a 3D map, and you kind of roll around and talk to people and whatever. But it's not a dating sim or whatever. It's just a game that takes place on one day. It's a goofy adventure. There are treasure chests hidden around the map. You can fish, but you can fish up cars. It's a very strange looking game. This will be on Steam sometime this year. A little to the left had some DLC announced, some new DLC announced called Seeing Stars. If you don't know, this game is about organizing things. With a new DLC coming out called Seeing Stars, it has 33 new levels, 5 extra bonus levels, 100 new stars, and more cat mayhem. So there you go. If you want to check that out, that's available on June 25th. Hello again. It's Groundhog Day, but nice. A postal worker travels to a remote island, gets stranded, and finds himself in a 12-hour time loop that only he is aware of. In Hello Again, you'll explore, solve puzzles, and try to uncover a story of an ancient people who lived on the island thousands of years ago who might be the reason you're in the loop to begin with. This is coming sometime next year to Steam. It's a very interesting looking game. The Groundhog Day kind of thing is always interesting. I remember that 12 Minutes game that came out a few years ago. That was pretty interesting, but this sounds a bit more fleshed out than that. While Waiting was a game that I was pretty interested in while I was watching this. This is a goofy kind of concept where you play as this. I mean, you start out as a kid and you grow up, but essentially you do things while you're waiting for something. Like you're waiting to get on a ride at a carnival, or you're waiting on your date to get there, or you're waiting for the bus. So you'll follow a person through their life from birth to death, focusing on the moments they spend waiting for buses, traffic, lines, elevators, etc. You can be patient or wait, or you can cause all kinds of mischief to try and get things to hurry along. There's even a fidget button if you want to wait but need something to do. This is coming sometime in 2025, so we got a little time to wait for that one. After Love EP is from the same people as Coffee Talk. After Love EP is a story about a musician who hears the voice of his girlfriend after she unfortunately passes away. It's a narrative game with dating sim and rhythm elements that explores grief, love, and finding ways to love yourself, even when it's hard. There's no release date for this just yet, but the idea is pretty wholesome, I guess you could say. Pretty nice. The music during the showcase was actually pretty good, and the rhythm game elements are a little bit more fleshed out than something like Goodbye Volcano High, so there you go. Phoenix Springs is a modern point-and-click adventure about a reporter searching for her brother. She ends up in the town, Phoenix Springs, solving puzzles in a neo-noir environment. Old-school point-and-clicks usually use objects in the inventory to interact with the world, but Phoenix Springs uses a mental detective pinboard, kind of like Alan Wake 2, to connect ideas together, allowing the main protagonist to understand what is going on in any given situation. This is coming out September 16th in 2024. Doesn't look bad. And the final game for the show was Tides of Tomorrow, which was a pretty interesting looking game. It's an asynchronous multiplayer game developed by the Road 96 developer, where multiple people's playthroughs of the same story can impact one another and influence events. In the trailer, they show one character escape a tight situation while leaving a knife hidden for another player to use during their escape. Tides of Tomorrow takes place on an ocean planet where a deadly plastification is killing things very, very slowly, and players may be able to cure and survive it. Tides of Tomorrow is coming to PC, but there is no release date just yet. The graphic style is very much Road 96 inspired too, so you kind of know what you're getting into. But it looks kind of cool. I guess it looks kind of cool. So the Day of the Devs was pretty fun. I guess for the most part, there was a couple games I didn't really care about, but for the most part, kind of a good show. Definitely enjoyed that. But check that out if you so desire. Devolver Digital's Devolver Direct was about as goofy as you expect it to be, with the showcase itself. A couple new games were shown off, and a couple expansions were shown off as well. The first up being the Cult of the Lamb is getting a co-op mode that was rumored and kind of guessed when they released a bit of a picture for the showcase. But essentially, one of you is a unholy lamb. A goat is an unholy goat who you bring in from the other side, another universe or another timeline. It's local co-op only, so you can't play online right now, but maybe in the future they will add that as well. So yeah, you'll be able to fight, and there'll be new challenges for you as well as twists on existing minigames. So that'll be available on August 12th. I believe it's a free update, I believe. A game called Tenjutsu was also shown off. This is a brand new game coming from us, the same developers as Dead Cells. It's a rogue jutsu game set in a crumbling city where you play as a renegade yakuza taking down her former colleagues. It's a bit like Dead Cells, but it's also got a bit of that Streets of Rage infusion along with Sifu, I guess. I didn't really see that when I saw the trailer, but yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense because it is a beat-em-up kind of game where you're using martial arts to take out these characters. It's a bit different from Dead Cells in a lot of ways. I believe it's a pixel art game if I remember correctly from the trailer. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. There's no release date for it just yet, but pretty cool announcement. A game called The Crush House is going to be available on August 9th, but there is a demo available now if you want to check that out. When they first started off the trailer, it looked like it was going to be one of those games where like you choose a different path and you try and make the best TV show that you can, reality TV show that you can. But then there was something else going on in the background. So that is one of the things that I guess is a bit of a misdirect there. If you want to check out more about the Crush House, there is a trailer for that, but there's also more information in one of the other game showcases. Possessors is a new game as well, another new game coming out as well, from the same people as Hyperlight Drifter and Solar Ash. So you kind of recognize the game from the get-go when they show off the gameplay. So you're gonna explore a city wrecked by an interdimensional catastrophe. Possessor has an open-ended world structure with multiple possible paths available at any given time, and a focus on tight combat, challenging bosses, and explorations. This is coming in 2025. It does look really good. I do want to see more, though, than what they showed off, of course. Angerfoot got a nice trailer. And the reason why I say it's nice is because they showed off more than just kicking down doors and hallways. When I talked about Mad Mullet Jack, I said, oh, this game is going to steal the thunder from Angerfoot because it came out first and it's very flashy and whatever. They showed off that Angerfoot is much more than just breaking down doors and shooting enemies. There's so much more to this game. There's multiple shoes you can wear that all have their own abilities, I guess. One of them is like a multi-kick. Another one is like a anti-gravity kick. There's an upper kick as well, which just sends enemies upwards. Of course, you do break down doors and gun down enemies, but there's more environments than just hallways, which is what I thought it was going to be. There's subway stations and underground sections and platforming, and there's multiple guns to use, like pistols and crossbows and grenade launchers, machine guns, of course. So yeah, it's very, very cool. I'm very excited to finally get around to playing this on June 11th, 2024. Coming soon. Very cool. And finally, the Talos Principle 2 is getting DLC called The Road to Elysium. This is a pretty big expansion with 3 new areas to explore. All of them are, I guess the third one is the most difficult, they said, right? The 3 distinct chapters. The first one starts off with your character doing like just more with the items that were in the game, right? The second one you are Yakut, or what is his name, the green one, and you do some stuff there. I think that one's like they said that was the easiest of all of them. And then the final one is your 1K trying to reconfigure the character from the game itself. I don't want to give too much away because spoilers, but you're trying to rebuild one of the characters from the game, and I guess that is the most difficult of all the puzzles. And there's like this big like main puzzle in the middle that looks really cool too. Will this bring me back to the game? Probably. They're saying that this is supposed to come out sometime this year on June 14th, so not too far away. And Greedy Waffles just finished this game, so he might have to jump back in sooner than he was expecting. But the Devolver Digital event was pretty good. Obviously, I'm always a little bit like, but I wanted like one more thing or whatever. But this one was pretty good. I liked what I saw. Not too crazy, not too bad. So definitely enjoyed that one. The Devolver Digital, Devolver Digital always does something crazy with their announcements and stuff, and this one is par for the course. Okay, the Wholesome Direct 2024. I'm gonna kind of speed through these a little bit, so because we're almost at the 2-hour mark at this point from my recording, so I think it's time to speed this up a little bit. Myth Match is a mix and match game inspired by Greek mythology. You move and combine objects to solve puzzles. It's a mobile style kind of game if you want to check that out. Caravan Sandwich. I really like how this one looks. It's a post-apocalyptic game where you solve puzzles both on foot and while traveling in your little caravan. The entire journey is watched by a mysterious figure. That looks really cool. I really like the idea of that one. Tiny Bookshop is a game where you run a secondhand bookshop and make decisions about which books to sell each day. Your van can be visited by a range of folks, each with their own tastes, so it's up to you to meet their desires. This is coming out in 2025. Ete is a painting game where you can create masterpieces in a world of watercolor pastels. When you're not painting, you'll spend time traveling the local city, finding commissions and collecting new items and making friends. It has a very nice watercolor aesthetic, as you might expect. Discounty is a supermarket simulation kind of game where you buy and sell goods, place them on shelves, and serve your local customers. There's a strange mystery in the background. This is coming in 2025. Rooster also appeared in last year's Wholesome Game Showcase, I believe. Maybe, I don't know. The game is a narrative puzzle game set in ancient China, inspired by traditional Chinese art. It's got a very lovely art style, as you may have guessed. There's a few mini games you play, along with having some gameplay in there. Into the Emberlands is a cozy adventure game set in a toy-like world where you travel, clear dark clouds, and discover a variety of secrets hidden in the mysterious biomes. This is coming in early access on June 19th. Squeak Home is a game inspired by Picross, as you may have guessed, which is a puzzle game where you fill in, I guess instead of numbers, you fill in cheese Picross puzzles to craft furniture for a tiny rodent. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but it's coming in 2025. Very interesting. Critter Cafe. You'll rescue creatures in a fantasy world, overcoming a variety of environment-based puzzles to find them a new home. Once you've rescued the critters, you'll take them to your cafe, which can be decorated with all the collected resources you get. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. Garden of the Sea. You'll craft a garden in a colorful world underwater, which, looks kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. There will be an array of strange creatures to meet along the way. Fantastic Haven. In a realm where magic is fading, mages are a last beacon of balance in the universe. As a mage, you will save magical creatures, build biomes, and also monitor relations with humans in the world. There's a free demo for the game available now called Fantastic Haven Prologue. Crab God. This is coming from Chaos Theory Games. Crab God is an underwater sim game where you raise crablings, build up your coral reef homes, and develop an eco-friendly underwater city. Crab God will benefit the environment, as Chaos Theory Games has partnered with Dots.eco to ensure gameplay translates to real-world benefits, which is kind of cool. Illa, a Frosty Glide, is an adventure game starring a young witch flying on her trusty broomstick. The game is a very neat voxel art style with a lovely color palette and world, kind of like a short hike, which is always a fun art style. Sally is a game where you wander a cozy world as a young, curious child. Your path is open in this adventure as you can choose to spend time cooking, working on machines, crafting potions, and more. This is coming to early access in 2025. Fellow Traveler Game Showcase. There was a little sizzle reel for the publisher Fellow Traveler, including games like Great God Grove, Afterlove EP, Times and Galaxy, Pine, and The Souls of Limbo. All looked interesting, I guess. Dungeons of Hinterberg. A new Marsh puzzle showcase trailer showed off the traversal in this gorgeous shell-shaded world as the player character solved a variety of puzzles using gelatinous cubes. We saw this one at a different showcase, and it looked really cool. And it's finally got a launch date. It's July 19th. July 19th. Looks really good. I mean, I know I'm kind of like tripping over this one, but I did think that this one looked really interesting, even back before. The whole Jello cube kind of things is a very fun aesthetic. Fruit Bus. You'll travel through a world of atmospheric creatures trailing your fruit bus behind you. The bus attracts hungry customers. You'll need to feed them by collecting ingredients and cooking them. This is coming in October of 2024. Free Ride. In Free Ride, you'll wander a world of strange beings to find your personal destiny. You'll traverse vast landscapes, make choices, and discover pathways through the universe. This will launch in 2025. Kamaru, a frog refuge. It's exactly what it says. You're developing a frog refuge, restoring wetlands to ensure that frogs have a cozy home. You'll craft goods, and give your frogs the best life. You can take photos of the frogs, having a fantastic time. This is coming. Actually, it's available right now if you want to check that out. Lost and Found Company is all about helping people find their lost items. It's kind of like a hidden object game, or maybe more like Where's Waldo, where you'll see a picture and you gotta try and find the different items in said picture, while also befriending the people in the game as well. Little Lands is an adventure game in the style of Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, where you explore a vast world, cross rivers and ravines, take on quests, make friends, and solve puzzles while collecting items. Isagi Shima is a bunny collecting game. It just got a new update with new items, collectibles, and new minigames. Minami Lane is a cozy management simulator game set in a quiet village, coming to Nintendo Switch in 2024. I guess they didn't show off too much about that. Pool, spelled Pool, is kind of like Suika game or watermelon game, but instead of using, fruit and dropping them from above, you use billiard balls to make bigger billiard balls, and you hit them into the billiard pool table. It's available now. I played it. It's all right. I was kind of getting frustrated by it because the meter to tell you how full your pool table is a little bit misleading. And also, in order to hit a ball, it has to be in the billiard table, but you don't tell the game when to put the ball there. It just automatically puts it there. So your play just gets kind of ruined because it bounces off the ball you just placed in the table automatically. Kind of annoying. I actually don't recommend this one, sorry. Tiny Lands 2 is a spot the difference 3D rendered puzzle where you spot what's different in the toy details. Kind of like not really I Spy, I guess. But it kind of is kind of like I Spy because it's like these little scenes of toys set up, which is kind of fun. This launches in 2025. Moonstone Island, we already talked about this one. Rolling Hills you play as a sushi robot trying to create the best sushi and serve customers in your restaurant in a diner dash style game. It's available right now. On Your Tail, you are a young deer-like woman who travels to a wholesome paradise to relax. As you explore your getaway, you'll uncover a mystery and tackle a range of mini-games, including cooking games and board games. This will launch in 2025. Spilled is a has a new snazzy graphic style and a very neat pixelated water physics. There's a demo for the game on June 10th. All right. The Palace on the Hill. You are a young teenager waking up in summer to family circumstances that mean they must take on odd jobs to survive, like cooking meals and tending a shop. The game kind of looks like a painting, has a gorgeous aesthetic. It's available right now. Traveler's Rest is getting a new update to include a new boost tier tavern. While Waiting, already talked about this one. Sopa, Tale of the Stolen Potato. You play as a young kid named Miho as they explore a strange jungle world filled with suspicious creatures. That launches in August 2024. Track of Thoughts. You are a ladybug trying to figure out why everyone on your train has lost something. The game features card-based relationship combat and allows you to really get to know your fellow passengers while solving a unique mystery. This is available now. Kind of like the Paper Mario segment on the train, huh? And then at the end of it all, there was a bit of a sizzle reel with a bunch of different games. Way more than I'm able to talk about, or I would not have anything to say about these. So if you want to watch the whole thing, there you go. All right. Next up, the women-led games. 2024. Urban Jungle is out now on Steam. You create and decorate your space with beautiful plants and create relaxing spaces filled with your favorite knickknacks. I don't believe they had a release date for this one, but in terms of like games where you just kind of sort things and put things in places, it doesn't look too bad. There's a demo available right now. Munch, I already talked about that. There's a demo available, blah, blah, blah. Hides, Haunt, and Seek is available to wishlist now. This is a game that will be released for Steam. It's a multiplayer-based game where you find your friends hiding in like possessed items or whatever. Kind of a fun little thing there. It had a really fun trailer. Dungeon Crawler. We already talked about this one coming in 2024 sometime, but there is a demo available now. Abyss X Zero had a developer-exclusive interview. It's a two-person indie team from Brazil who are developing a stylish 3D Metroidvania that is inspired by early 3D games on the PS1 and Nintendo 64. Looks pretty fun. Bubblegum Galaxy has a demo available right now. It's a game centered around Heiko on an adventure to rebuild the galaxy tile by tile. It's a cozy but thrilling journey. Discover and create new designs for planets, explore different areas, and make friends as you uncover a mystery regarding the person who deleted the galaxy. It's kind of, I mean, it looks really cool. I like the idea of this one. It kind of reminds me of that, because it uses hexagons to create the different planets. It kind of reminds me of, oh crap, what was that called? I really liked it too. I don't remember what it's called. Oh well, it's very similar to a game that I talked about a long time ago, but I do like it. I do like the idea of it. A Star Named Eos, or The Star Named Eos. I feel like I've talked about this one a couple times now. It's coming July 24th. It's a game where you use photography to recreate compositions of past photos and uncover mysteries. It looks okay. There's a demo available for the game right now. Star Stuff has released on Steam. Now it's available. This is a little engineering game where you combine things to solve puzzles like batteries and components and stuff like that. Voodoo is a 3D puzzle matching game where you pretty much place things in an environment and match them to where they're supposed to be. Like they have like a little like outline in the environment, and then you place them. It's kind of an interesting style thing. It has a very like claymation style kind of art style to it, which is kind of fun. I do like that. I don't believe there's a release date for it yet, but you can wishlist it now. Mexico 1921, A Deep Slumber. This will be released later this year. There's a demo right now. It's an immersive, emotional narrative about awakening and the beginning of the country of Mexico, which is kind of interesting, huh? Solitaire. There's a demo available on Steam right now. This one actually looks really interesting. Open your own fortune-telling cafe in Solitaire. Lay out the cards and see the people's future unfold right before your eyes, even deciding their fate depending on your interpretation of the cards. Kind of cool idea. Really like that. Albert Wild Quantum PI. This will be released on PC, and you can actually wishlist it right now if you so desire. You play as a detective cat solving mysteries and investigating crimes and a crime organization in a story-rich adventure. There's a demo available to play right now. Kind of looks kind of interesting, I suppose. Phoenix Springs is a modern take on a classic point-and-click adventure game. I already talked about this one. Has a very interesting art style, etc., etc. Just Crow Things. There's a demo available for this right now if you want to try it out. You're just a crow who wants to prove himself in the world, or herself in the world. Cause your own brand of crow-style mischief, make animal friends, and steal the shiny trinkets from the pesky humans. It's going to release sometime in the future, so stay tuned for more updates. Duck Detective, The Secret Salami. It's already available now, but I guess they just wanted to feature it in the showcase. It was a cute kind of game. I don't know if I'd ever replay it, but it was kind of cute. It's a game about a duck who's solving a case in like a bus stop or whatever, a bus terminal, and it's all right. It's all right. They showed more about the Crush House, but not too much, I would say. They definitely want to keep the the behind the story thing more so in the dark. But yeah, if you want to check that out, there's a demo available right now. It's coming August 9th. Sunnyside. This is a cooking game where you explore various options available in the harmonious Japanese countryside. Farming and Life Simulator Sunnyside is releasing on June 19th on Steam and on consoles August 16th. There's a demo available right now. I don't know. This one doesn't look like my kind of thing. Citadelum is coming later this year. I'm not sure what this is. Like, you play as, like, gods or whatever. You come down to Earth or something like that. I'm not sure what this is. Yes, Your Grace Snowfall is coming in 2024. There's a demo available now. The original Yes, Your Grace was very fun. I really enjoyed that. This one looks like it's just building upon that one. So, what more can you ask for? There's a demo available right now, like I said. I already talked about the Palace on the Hill. Oh, and finally, Rah Rah Boom has a demo available now, and I remember watching this one right at the very end. It's a pixel art, like, side-scrolling co-op shoot-'em-up kind of thing. Kind of reminded me of, the TMNT games, but it looks kind of fun. Looks really cool. It's got, like, a dystopian kind of style to it, and a bunch of different, like, planets or areas that you go to that are very distinct. You get gradings based on how well you do. You can purchase upgrades and stuff like that. It's a very fast, action-paced co-op beat-'em-up. So, yeah, pretty cool. The demo is available on Steam right now, like I said. Pretty cool looking game. Did enjoy the look of that one myself. And, yeah, that was the whole thing. I thought it was a pretty nice showcase. Nothing too crazy shown off, and some things we already saw, but still okay. I enjoyed it. All right, the Future Games Showcase. There was a lot shown off here, folks. So, once again, we're going to try and speed through this. We are over the 2-hour mark, and that's even before having the Xbox showcase. Yeah, thank you for sticking around. Here we go. Once Human is a post-apocalyptic game where an alien entity called Stardust has taken over human society. What were once humans, animals, and plants now have mutated into terrifying and dangerous creatures. It's like a third-person shooter. Kind of reminded me of like the style of like Remnant. Yeah, looks pretty cool. This is coming on July 9th, if you want to check that out. Once Human. Goat Simulator 3 Multiverse of Nonsense had a reveal trailer. It's exactly what you expect from a Goat Simulator kind of DLC. You start off by dropping down from the space into a Fortnite-esque kind of battle map, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff there. There's a capybara with an infinity gauntlet on its head. It's all pretty crazy. This is coming June 19th. Eternal Shards is a fantasy action-adventure game where you play as Bryn, who's on a quest to recover your people's cultural home. It's a third-person fantasy action-adventure game. This is coming sometime later this year. Sono Kuni is a game that is inspired by top-down action games. What's it called? I can't remember. It's a Devolver Digital game. My brain's a bit fried right now. But yeah, you essentially it's made by a Japanese hip hop band who decided to take their music to the video game space and design a video game. There's a demo available right now. Anton Blast had another showing. Nothing new there. Drug Dealer Simulator 2. It's arriving June 20th. If you want to live out your dreams of being a drug dealer in a Cuban type country, there you go. The Relic First Guardian. This is coming out sometime this year. I'm not sure what exactly that was. I don't remember that one at all. Scary Fire is a new upcoming RPG that draws inspiration from 90s games. It's got a pixel art aesthetic, of course, turn-based combat, real-time turn-based combat, dynamic battles, etc., etc. There's a playtest that's available right now if you want to check that out. Warhammer 40k Space Marines come in September. We already know about this, but nice to see another trailer for that coming in September 9th. Enter the Chronosphere had a gameplay trailer. This is like a top-down action game, roguelike action game. It's a bit of psychedelic at times. It melds real-time and turn-based action as well. This is coming out sometime in 2024. You can wishlist it now. Dredge is getting a new DLC called the Iron Rig. This is coming on August 15th. There will be more information soon. Eric Shalom, The Stolen Dream, is coming to multiple different consoles in the near future. It's an isometric, story-rich stealth game where you play as Hannah as she embarks on a quest to find her brother. You can wishlist the game now. It looks pretty good. It's got like a top-down kind of aesthetic to it, so I don't know if it's going to be really my kind of game, but the cutscenes look very detailed, very, very flashy. Hermit and Pig. This is an adventure RPG where you... it's kind of like that Pig movie with Nicolas Cage. You play as Hermit and his truffle-loving pig and set out on a day filled with adventure. You'll be dragged into solving a mystery of a sinister corporate plot brewing in the shadows. The game doesn't have a release date yet, but you can wishlist it. Shkim. This is a game that I've been very interested in. You play as like this little shadow entity who can only traverse through shadows. This is coming out July 18th. I'm very excited to finally try this out. It looks very cool. In Sync is available to wishlist now as well. In Sync is now slated to release in 2024. Work together to solve puzzles and escape a desert island in a multiplayer co-op adventure taking you through hidden pirate ships, an art museum, and a physics-bending train. So yeah, if you like games where you solve a puzzle to get out of a room, an escape room, this may be the one you want to try out. Woodrunner Studios is coming up with a new game about a frog and a fly and trying to catch the fly. There wasn't much shown off about it other than the concept. First Dwarf offers an immersive action RPG experience blending colony survival, base building, and tower defense mechanics into one thrilling adventure. Take control of True, a brave dwarf, and a pilot in a powerful mech alongside Ragna the dragon, each equipped with unique skills and upgrades to master. This is coming in early access June 20th. There's a demo available now. Bogdan's Cross revealed. Bogdan's Cross is an action-adventure game where you play as a night bear, traveling the world as you uncover the hidden tale of the Templar Order. The game will be available sometime later this year. The casting of Frank Stone got a little trailer as well. This is the Dead by Daylight game that's getting a single-player narrative expansion or experience, working with Supermassive Games. The story will focus on a group of young friends as they discover a horrific mystery while filming a movie at a place of a murder. Still no release date for that just yet, but it is coming out in 2024. The Precinct, we talked about this one before a while ago. It's a GTA-inspired game, like an old-school GTA-inspired game, where you play as the police detective. It's like a top-down adventure narrative kind of game. This will be available August 15th. You play as in a sandbox city in the streets of Arveno City in 1983. It's a neon noir world with gangs, etc., etc., etc. Linkito is coming July 23rd. This is a puzzle game where you connect blocks to do various tasks such as decoding messages, controlling robots, and defusing bombs. Happy Bastards coming soon. It's an open-world tactical RPG where you assemble a squad of weird and unruly men to fight, explore, and loot the dirty mercenaries you are. Screenbound, we already talked about that. Parcel Corps is releasing on September 3rd. This is a really cool-looking game where you deliver packages while riding a bicycle. You dive into a virtual world. Okay, hold on. You're blah, 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 blah. You deliver parcels, but there's a nefarious scheme that unravels, and in the guise of a humble cyclist, you find yourself thrust into an unexpected role of the world's savior. Okay. But it looks really cool. Really excited to play that. Coming out September 3rd, Parcel Corps. Farlands has a demo available right now. You decide to buy an entire planet, but the planet needs a little bit of work done. This planet was abandoned and left for good, but with a little love and care, you can get the planet back to the way that it was. You'll reclaim fields, cut weeds, clear paths, build and farm your way to make the planet comfortable. It will launch in early access on July 23rd. There's a demo available now. It's also planned to come to Nintendo Switch. Dustborn, we've talked about this one a couple of times. It's a narrative adventure where you play as like a group of people who are trying to make it across the world. And of course, you are a group of mixed races, so you're going to obviously run into problems with various things. You play as a con artist with the ability to weaponize language and manipulate people as you explore the stunning world filled with robots. It's coming August 21st. Deliver Us Home was revealed. If you don't know, this is coming from the same studio who did Deliver Us the Moon and Deliver Us Mars, both very good narrative third-person action-adventure games. And this one looks like it's about the same thing, except you're trying to get home after being sent to some sort of crazy future for humanity. You wishlisted that now. Star Vaders. This is a tile-based action deck-building type game. Looks very interesting. Got a cool art style there. Mandragora is slated to come out in 2024. It's a Souls-like side-scroller set in the medieval fantasy world with an epic boss fights and branching talent tree. In the full release, get ready to immerse in a world created by legendary writer Brian Mistodia of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines fame. Sword of the Necromancer Resurrection. This is a sequel to Sword of the Necromancer. This is now a 3D game and completely revamped battle system. Turn your foes into allies with the power of necromancy and gain enough strength to be able to bring back Coco, your friend, lover, brother, sister, I don't know. Bring back them from the dead. It's available to wishlist now. Run Away from Mummies. This is a pixel art top-down kind of dungeon crawling kind of game where you blast away various ghosts and ghouls, but you also need to run away from the mummies. So that'll be released in fall of 2024 for Steam and PS5. It has a demo available right now. Work together to defeat bosses and escape the pyramids. Toy Tactics. This is releasing on September 19th. It's an RTS kind of game where you use little toys to battle the opponent. Pretty fun. Looks kind of cool. Sword units. It kind of reminds me of chess a little bit too, because you have like your knights and your kings and your blah 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 blah. And kind of interesting. Nico Derico, The Magical World, is coming in 2024. This had a pretty fun kind of intro trailer, I guess you could say. It's a couch co-op friendly platforming game with themes and family friendly fun. Join Nico and Luna in their quest to retrieve a stolen relic that the villainous Grimbald stole from them. They must travel to 7 different worlds to save the island and tribes and defeat the Cobring army. This will be available sometime this year for all the major systems. They had a bit of a sizzle reel for the Netflix games. Tales of the Shire, Don't Starve Together, Lab Rat, Perfect Match, Emily in Paris, Selling Sunset, Too Hot to Handle 3, Rotwood, Harmonium the Musical, Cozy Grove Camp Spirit, and the Dragon Prince Zadia. Those are all coming to Netflix in 2024. Gerito has a demo available right now. This is a game coming to Steam. It is a handcrafted, hand-painted kind of world where claymation figures battle and possess things and solve puzzles. Unlike Harold Halibut, this is definitely more so looking like a claymation experience than that game. It's coming from, it's inspired by the folk history of the Scottish borders. World's Worst Handyman. This one has been on my list for about a year now. Essentially, you play as Doug, the world's worst handyman. The game is set to release in September. There is a demo available on Steam right now. It's kind of like a comedy stealth game where every job you take is chaotic and fun. It's kind of got like that graphic style of like What the Golf and stuff like that. And you can pet the animals as well. But it looks pretty fun. I think that looks really fun. The Operator has a demo available right now. It's a game where you kind of play as like an FBI kind of type place where you use your detective skills to assist your fellow agents and solve crimes and puzzles, all in like a Windows XP era inspired kind of computer. Kind of looks really cool. Hell of an Office. There's a demo available for this right now as well. You're tasked with descending into the depths of hell as you parkour your way to escape the flames and the lava. This looks like a really interesting kind of game. Definitely going to be adding that to my wish list. Kind of reminds me of The Floor is Lava or something like that, you know. Clockwork Ambrosia. This is a pixel art adventure game. Side-scrolling Metroidvania 2D shooter. There you go. Detective Dotson is a story-driven mystery adventure game set in modern-day India. Immerse yourself in a vibrant tapestry of culture and intrigue as you step into the shoes of Dotson, a reluctant detective with aspirations to become a star in Bollywood. This is coming sometime in 2024. Here are some other demos that are available right now in a little bit of a sizzle reel. Motor Doom, Angeline Era, 10 Dead Doves, 10 Dead Doves, oh my god, Servnauts, Dystopia, Gun Touchables, Wild Bastards, and Metal Suits Counterattack. Body Cam is available right now in early access. It's a first-person shooter that is being built in Unreal Engine 5. It's been on everyone's wish list for quite some time. It is now available right now to try out. I believe it's like a PvP game, which I was not expecting when I originally saw it, but what you gonna do? Metal Slug Tactics got a reveal that's coming in fall of 2024. This game has been being worked on for quite some time. It's coming to Switch, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and did I say it's... Yeah. It's coming to all those different platforms. It looks really good. It's a tactics-based Metal Slug game. Kind of in this... It has like the art style of like a Advance Wars. Looks really cool. I've been waiting for that for quite some time. I'm a big fan of Metal Slug, as you already know. Diabolical Rogue. Hop into your suit and get ready for a fast-paced roguelike combat system with a new online first-person shooter. Diabolical Rogue is available in early access right now on Steam. It looks okay. Duck Detective got another little trailer. I don't know why. Starship Troopers Extermination Update. You'll be able to... There's going to be new bugs, new updates, new gameplay mechanics, new blah, blah, blah. There was an Unreal Engine showcase showing out the power of Unreal Engine 5. Wow. And then they ended it off by showing a trailer for Nobody Wants to Die. There was a developer interview, and the game is looking pretty good. So that was a future game showcase. I think there was more revealed during this, but there's just so much that was shown off. There's so many different like little things shown off. It was a pretty good showcase altogether, but pretty long. Let's move on to the Xbox Game Showcase, which I will give over to future Yemmy, who probably is a bit more mentally sound after all of this. Future Yemmy here. All right, I just watched the Xbox Showcase. There was some good stuff shown off in there. I'm not gonna lie. Nothing that really got me. Well, I guess there was one thing that got me really hyped, but yeah, let's talk about it. Even the freaking Xbox official website has these things out of order, so I'm gonna go through them in the order that Xbox wants me to talk about them. Apparently, I'm getting this literally directly from news.xbox.com, and the reveals are in the wrong order. And you might be saying, "Oh, yeah, just do it in the right order." Then I can't be asked right now. This episode is already long enough as it is. Who needs me waffling on anymore? All right, so Age of Mythology Retold is coming around. This is from the same studio as Age of Empires, of course. It looks very similar to Age of Empires. That's what I mean by of course. Essentially, you play as different mythological gods, each with their own unique units,
and properties. So like you play as Zeus, and your soldiers get like Zeus's power. You play as I don't know, Thor or Loki, and you get dragons. You play as the Egyptian god, and you also get like these like mega guys that are specific to each of the mythological guys as well. Age of Mythology Retold will combine the best elements of the already established Age of Mythology from 2002 with modern real-time strategy design, visuals, and gameplay. So this game, I figured that this was a remake, seeing as it said retold after it, but I wasn't 100% sure while watching it. But it's a remake, but it seems like it's gonna be pretty good. Age of Mythology comes to PC, and all these games are coming to Xbox Game Pass, by the way. September 4th is when they come around, or it comes around. Avowed had a bit of a look at the story, I guess, of the game, but it's what you expect from a medieval fantasy type game. You know, it's not going to be anything that's going to knock your socks off per se, but there could be other things underneath the layers of the game that interest you. So I'm just interested in seeing how this game works and plays. I mean, there was so much stuff that they showed off during this and the last Xbox like Developer Direct that really excited me, made me interested in playing this. Obviously, it's probably going to be a little bit more off the walls than Skyrim. Skyrim is definitely much more of like a, maybe more like a straightforward medieval kind of setting, whereas this is definitely way more fantasy, way more into that mythical arts kind of thing with, you know, special abilities like with wands and stuff like that. So should be kind of interesting. Looks pretty good, and I'll definitely be playing this. They did not give it a release date yet. They still said it's coming sometime in 2024. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 actually opened up the show and actually ended the show as well. There was a whole deep dive into the campaign and the multiplayer and the zombies. It's nothing like too crazy out of the ordinary that we don't already have from other Call of Duty games. The story for this one takes place around the Bill Clinton / George H.W. Bush era of the United States. Both of them apparently show up in the game, so that's pretty crazy. But you're playing as the same characters. Well, I guess one of the same characters comes back from Cold War, along with Woods, and I think Mason is in the background as well in one of the shots. But you're playing as this new guy who, I mean, if you know a Black Ops story, you know that the guy you're playing as has something going on with brainwashing or something like that. But yeah, it's gonna be another spy action thriller. I did enjoy Cold War. We recently played it last year for the first time, and I actually did enjoy it a lot. The story mode, the multiplayer's decent, I will say, and of course, I mean, Call of Duty multiplayer is usually pretty good. The only one I haven't liked since back in the old days, Black Ops 4, and I would say last year's Modern Warfare 3 just did not hit. They also said that, yeah, they're going back to a mission structure. You can expect it to be more like Cold War, maybe a little bit more expanded. I think it looks good for what it's worth, but I mean, it is Call of Duty, so you kind of know what you're getting into. They revealed that the game file size is going to be about 300 gigabytes, which is pretty freaking crazy. But hey, it's a massive game. I'm sure that there's going to be I'm sure that 300 is like for everything. Like if you get the zombies, the multiplayer, and the campaign on your PC or on your system at the same time. And then Phil Spencer also made sure to be like, hey, this is the first Call of Duty in many, many years that's launching on every single system with all the same stuff attached to it. I don't believe I saw Nintendo Switch on the game list though, buddy. But I wasn't expecting to be on there anyway. There is a Vault Edition, which includes Hunter vs. Hunter Operator Pack, Mastercraft Collection of Guns, Black Cell Coins, Gobblegum Pack, so there's going to be Gobblegum back for this version, and the Woods Operator Pack. You also get open beta early access for the game as well. I believe they're doing 2 beta periods, one closed, one open. So there you go. Pretty interesting indeed. You can play it with Game Pass, which is where I will be playing this one. I was burnt on Modern Warfare 3 last year. I knew I shouldn't have bought it, but I did, and here we are. One of the cooler reveals was Doom: The Dark Age, which is coming in 2025. We haven't had a Doom game since Doom Eternal. We're not counting the mobile game that came out. So this one takes place in a more medieval setting. You still have your boomstick, but you also have a new shield ability that can be thrown at enemies used to block bullets and also be used to bash, which is pretty cool. Really like that idea. The boomstick itself is very like old school looking. They also showed off another gun that uses like skulls to fire shards at enemies, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of cool things going on here. The medieval setting definitely suits Doom in a lot of ways, and it looks like there's going to be some new enemy types based on a more medieval world. There also seems to be a section where you're flying on a dragon, which is pretty cool too. Can't wait for that. Once again, coming 2025 there. Fable got a new trailer. Last time Fable got a trailer, everyone said, oh, the girl in it is not hot enough. Which is stupid. I wonder what people think of the guy who's drunk and is showing his chest hair like a old 80s glam band, you know. But yeah, I mean, it didn't really show too much off per se, but the graphics do look pretty impressive. The gameplay didn't really show much of it, but yeah, I think it looks kind of flashy from what we saw. I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. So yeah, the game is just called Fable. I guess it's like a reboot of the series. It's coming in 2025 though, so not this year. The one thing I was most excited about was Gears 6, but hey, they're not calling it Gears 6. They're back to Gears of War. They're calling it Gears of War. This is going to be called Gears of War E-Day. So kind of like Judgment Day was Baird and Cole's look at the first day of the war. E-Day seems to be Marcus and Dom's first look at the E-Day events, where Emergence Day, where the locusts come out of the ground. I don't believe this is coming until next year as well, 2025. I'm pretty sure they are just getting started. Well, maybe not just getting started, but they're continuing the work on the game. Actually, they did not give a release even window for it, so don't expect it this year or next year. I guess maybe next year. I don't know. The CG trailer they showed off was nice. It was kind of intense here and there. And yeah, they showed Dom at the end, which I'm sure got plenty of applause. I think the reason why they're doing this is much like with Judgment Day. They want to bring the characters back, and with the events of Gears of War 3 and then 4, it's hard to do that. And with Gears of War 5 or Gears 5, they really went a bold direction with the series, where they added some open segments, and there was a lot more walking than I was expecting. It seems like they might be going back to the more boots on the ground, like heavy action kind of feel to it. You might be going through a big city fighting off the locusts. But as we know from Emergence Day, the humans don't win. Spoiler alert. But I guess we'll see what they do. They also touched at the nostalgia strings by playing Mad World in the background, which was iconic for the original commercial for, I believe, Gears of War 2. I believe either 2 or 1. I forget which one it is, but yeah, there you go. Gears of War E-Day, cool beans. We also got a showcase for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It had a pretty lengthy section of the game where you're exploring some like beached ship high in the mountains somehow. And you find this stone, and the Germans are looking for that as well. And you go through a bit of a sequence. It's very campy, very fun. And then there's a bit of a fight sequence, and then Indiana Jones falls off the ship, and that's the end of the trailer. This is also looking to be very exciting. Once again, they did not have a release date for it, just 2024. I can only guess that's coming soon, seeing as they're showing so much more of the game right now. But yeah, we'll see when that officially comes out. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 was announced. This is the next game in the Microsoft Flight Simulator series. I really was thinking that Microsoft Flight Simulator was going to be the end of the series because it was all-encompassing. The name of the game was Microsoft Flight Simulator, But nope, they got a new version coming out 2024.
It looks like they've added a bunch of new like jobs you can do: aerial advertising, air ambulance, VIP chartering, farming, cultural aviation, search and rescue, cargo transport, aerial firefighter. Lots of cool stuff, you know. And again, of course, these games look fantastic. I'm sure they play pretty well too. Seems like you'll also be able to fly hot air balloons in this one as well, which I don't think was in the series before. Perfect Dark. We knew that there was some sort of remake or something coming out. Not remake. I'm sorry, reboot coming out eventually. But they actually showed it off at this Xbox showcase here. It's very interesting because at the beginning of it, it's very different than what I was expecting. Right, you're walking around this like city area. You're doing like this stealth mission. They're in partner with Crystal Dynamics, which is known for the Tomb Raider series, so you kind of know what to expect in terms of like gameplay style. But then they turn it on its head. They're like, hey, it's a first person stealth action game. It's not like the Tomb Raider series at all. But there is some like parkour built into the game. Looks like there's some gunplay and some melee combat as well. So I guess they're using the stuff that they learned while doing Tomb Raider to their benefit here. It is looking pretty good, I must say. I've never played the original Perfect Dark game. I just haven't played it. It's just it wasn't one of those things on my list when I was a kid, and then I've never really I never played it in the current day. But this looks pretty good. I mean, even if it wasn't connected to Perfect Dark, I'd be interested in this. But since it is connected to Perfect Dark, pretty cool that they're bringing this back and in such a way that it looks nice. Looks nice. South of Midnight is a game that's coming in 2025 as well. This has an interesting graphic style where the characters are all like a lower frame rate than the rest of the world, and they're also a bit more like comic booky or cel shaded, I guess you would say. You start off with the character riding on a big catfish, and then you kind of go onto land, and it kind of showcases a bit of the area. There's like some sort of giant alligator walking around. The enemies and stuff like that, it's all based on like this like black vine stuff going on, and when you kill like a big enemy, you can heal the area that they're in. So I guess that's probably gonna be a big part of this game, kind of like the gunk, if you remember the gunk from a couple years ago. But there's some abilities like zipping to locations, gliding as well. I like the idea of these lower frame rate characters. It's a nice visual style. I'm hoping that not too many games start doing this because it becomes a trope, right? But right now it looks cool. I like this idea, and it's coming in 2025. Looks pretty good, like a third-person action platformer game with a little bit of melee combat in there. State of Decay 3 has a new trailer. The trailer was mostly CG, but you kind of knew what it was when it started off because it's you know what State of Play is by this time if you have already played the game. And it all was a CG trailer, so we didn't see any gameplay. I'm assuming that they're going to focus a lot more on the co-op element of the games, and also like they also focused on like the being able to switch characters. When your character dies, you switch to a different character, right? State of Decay 2 was pretty successful, so we always knew that State of Decay 3 was going to come out eventually. And this one, I mean, the CG trailer looks pretty good. We'll have to wait for some actual gameplay in the future. Assassin's Creed Shadows got gameplay, which is the first that we've seen, I guess, from it. I'm sure they'll show more at the Ubisoft showcase, but the gameplay looks nice. It's exactly what I was thinking, kind of like how Assassin's Creed Syndicate has one character be more stealth and the other character be more, brawler type. They did the same thing here. The one character has more stealth abilities and different weapons from the big character who has the big weapons, and he's not very stealthy, right? So yeah, the gameplay looks pretty good. Looks a lot better than like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, in my opinion. Even though Valhalla doesn't look bad at all, I think it does. The gameplay does look a bit better. Obviously, it's very inspired by Ghost of Tsushima. You can see it in the cracks and core of the game. There also seems to be a filter that you can put on to make it look more like an old school Japanese movie, which is pretty cool too. And the game is coming November 15th. If you want to check that out. Atomfall is a new game coming from Rebellion Studios, and you mostly know Rebellion from their work on the Sniper Elite series. This is something that's kind of different. It still has like a World War II thing going on here and there, with some of the guns and stuff that they showed off. But there's like mechs walking around. It's like a post-apocalyptic kind of world. It's first person, which is also pretty unique for Rebellion to do. I think the last first-person shooter they made was Call of Duty World at War Final Fronts. So hopefully they've learned since then. Yeah, it looks like you got archery in there. You got some weapons in there. It's also some sort of a cult thing going on with, of course, zombies. You can't have Nazis without zombies in these kind of games, right? But the mechs are a really cool idea, and the more sci-fi elements are kind of cool as well. If you want to check that out, Atomfall is coming 2025. Expedition 33 kind of started out looking kind of like a Final Fantasy game, and then boom, bada bing, what do you know? It's a turn-based combat action game. That is does kind of remind me of Persona more so than maybe like a Final. It has like the Final Fantasy graphic style with like a Persona battle system. I would say it's very flashy, very all in your face. The idea behind the game is that there's some sort of evil painter who has taken over the world, and every number that they write on this like tree every year is like if it's 34, then everyone who's age 34 just vanishes, and it's counting down. So eventually everyone will die. They didn't really explain if like, oh, if I turn 34 after she writes 34, do I technically live? I don't know. I don't know. But the combat looks really nice for a turn-based combat game. If you want to check that out, Expedition 33 coming in 2025. This one doesn't seem to have an Xbox Game Pass listing on it, so it might just be coming to Xbox and probably other platforms. Dragon Age renamed the game to Dragon Age The Veilguard. I don't know if I talked about that last week or not. This just doesn't really interest me at all. I wasn't really a big fan of Dragon Age Inquisition, and I don't think I'm really going to be interested in Dragon Age The Veilguard. They had a CG trailer for it, so there really wasn't any gameplay or anything shown off. But for people who are fans of the series, hopefully it'll be something that's your style, your taste. Souls-like fans, rejoice. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn is arriving on July 18th. This is coming to Xbox Game Pass. Yes, it is. This is the game that combines like this flintlock pistol with melee style, kind of like Bloodborne in a way, but there's more emphasis on this flintlock pistol during the trailers and stuff like that, so I don't think it's going to be like a tool like in Bloodborne. It's going to be more like an actual viable fighting option. And you obviously can use the guns very viably in Bloodborne, but still. Anyway, don't think of this game as Bloodborne because there's a lot more to it. There's some sort of like magic ability in your weapon, and it seems to be like more of like an open world kind of Souls-like. But yeah, that's coming July 18th. It looks pretty good. I'm definitely going to check this out and try it out. Maybe I'll play through the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it. But it's very... I hate to use the word again, but it's very flashy. It looks very good. And the flintlock stuff looks kind of cool too. A game called Frag Punk got a trailer. This is a first-person shooter, blah, blah, blah. That you use like cards to amp up your characters. It is technically like a hero shooter. There's different characters you choose from, and then you use cards to help you out during the battle. Kind of like Friends vs. Friends, which came out last year. So it is a PvP game where you use these cards to mess up the other players in the game. Once again, like I said, very Friends vs. Friends, where you had you use the cards to either get new weapons or to mess up the other players, and it's kind of like the same concept here. Frag Punk is coming in 2025. This is not coming to Game Pass. A new Life is Strange game is coming around called Double Exposure, which I am very happy that they are finally bringing back Max from the original game. If you don't know, Max and Chloe were from the original first Life is Strange game. They were the two characters that, well, I guess Chloe was more of a clutch for the series than Max because Chloe got all her own games and whatever. But Max has not been around for quite some time, and I know that I've said, oh, it's Life is cringe. I've said that in the past. And yeah, the first game is a bit like cringy at times. But I think with that last game that came out, True Colors, and with this game, they definitely have matured in their writing style with their games, and having Max come back is a big W because she was a fan favorite character, not just for me, but for a lot of people back in the day. And she apparently has this new ability where she can rip apart realities, and the main gist of the story is that she's going to try and solve a murder in both realities, try to save the person who is getting murdered in both realities.
So yeah, looks like it's gonna be pretty cool. I am kind of interested in this one. I haven't been interested in a Life is Strange game for quite some time, so I am interested in this one for the first time in a while. This is coming October 29th this year. Is it coming to Game Pass? No, it's not coming to Game Pass. Mecha Break is a create your own mech game where you can take it into battle and fight other people in 6v6 battles. It's got like a Gundam type style to it. I mean, you can compare most mech games to Gundam or Armored Core at this point, but it has more of a Gundam style. It's a bit more I wouldn't say cartoonish, but it's got more of that that kind of feel to it, right? And obviously they showed off a bunch of different weapons and ultimates and stuff that you can use. It's probably going to be a very customizable kind of game. This is apparently coming in a closed beta form in August. I don't think that the main game doesn't come until 2025. So there's a closed beta in August, main game 2025. Not coming to Xbox Game Pass. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the remake for Metal Gear Solid 3. Got a nice trailer here, showed off the new redone environments. Pretty much the first part of the game is what they kind of did highlights of, which is probably one of the more recognizable parts of the game for a lot of people, is that opening sequence. It looks really good. I mean, I can't deny that. Lots of cool stuff going on there. The game will be coming sometime. They didn't even give a release window, so I'm guessing it's coming probably next year, maybe even in a couple of years. But it looks good for what's worth. I did not enjoy my time with Metal Gear 3, which is, I know, blasphemy at this point, but this is looking pretty good for people who are fans of Metal Gear Solid 3. I think it'll be a nice up res of the game there. Mixtape is coming in 2025. This game follows the story of a couple of three friends who embark on an adventure together en route to their final party together before they go to college or something like that. This game is very it's tugging at your nostalgia strings, of course, with plenty of popular music from bands like Devo, Roxy, Lush, The Smashing Pumpkins, Iggy Pop, Suix and the Banshees, Joy Division, and more. So there's a lot of bands there that will definitely get people feeling something while they're playing the game. So Mixtape will blend gameplay, narrative, and music together to make a new experience. It's got like a cel-shaded art style, kind of like a comic booky, blocky kind of way to it. I think it looks pretty good. It's coming out in 2025, so we gotta wait a little bit of time for that one, and I don't believe that this one is coming to Game Pass, or at least not. Oh, actually it is. It says Game Pass on there. All right, let's come in the Game Pass. Stalker Heart of Chernobyl got a lengthy gameplay trailer. This is probably the most gameplay that we've seen in a while, or at least ever at this point. I mean, it didn't show like a bunch of gameplay. It is still like a highlight reel of the gameplay, but it's the most that we've seen in quite some time, showing off some of the different gadgets that you'll use, some of the different enemy encounters you'll come across. And some of the different like world or stuff in the world that you will explore. This game is looking great. It's supposed to be coming September 5th, so we will see what happens there. But this game, it has a non-linear story, so stuff that they show off in the trailer you might not even come across, which is also pretty cool. Winter Burrow is a cozy survival experience where you play as this little mouse in winter, and you try and stay alive, pretty much, or keep your family alive. You scavenge for items in the world. You build and craft different things you need, like axes and stuff like that, building bridges, and trying to find your something or another that got taken by an owl. This is coming to Game Pass early in 2025. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers was revealed. This is a journey into the darkness of the Ming Dynasty. So a lot of these games like to have that mythological element to them when you're doing something like this, and this one is no exception. You play as this female samurai, I guess, who has like a special ability, something to do with feathers, and they showed off a couple of like boss fights, I suppose, or monsters that you're fighting, which look pretty cool. You are Wu Chang, a pirate warrior struck by amnesia and afflicted by ornithopy.
A horrific disease, but the source of immense power. Okay. Battle against grotesque abominations, drawing on ancient lore to challenge the creeping darkness that threatens humanity. Blah blah blah. All right, so that's kind of cool. This is also coming in 2025. Xbox Game Pass. It is coming to Game Pass. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred got a CGI trailer. It was if you don't know this, the cutscenes and stuff from Diablo 4 look really good, and this is no exception. Didn't really tell you what the DLC was really going to be about. There's some sort of crystal that you need to find or whatever and harness the power or whatever, I guess. But that'll be coming October 8th, Vessel of Hatred, if you're interested in that. Elder Scrolls Online invites you to discover Tamriel in a new trailer. The 10th anniversary of the Elder Scrolls Online is here. And if you're a veteran or a newcomer, you can explore an ever-growing world, party up with your fellow adventurers, and discover why over 24 million players have now experienced this award-winning RPG. So this expansion for Tamriel is coming on June 18th across all systems. You will unravel the mystery of the return of the Forgotten Prince, unlock the scribing system to create your own abilities, and delve into the region of Westweld, part of Tamriel not ever seen since Elder Scrolls Oblivion. All right. Also, Fallout 76 is getting a new update called Skyline Valley. The release date for that is June 12th, which is right before the other one. I don't really know what this is. I guess it's a new region. Skyline Valley is going to be a new region, which will introduce fresh locations to explore among the woodlands, once known as the Shenandoah National Park. Seek out Vault 63 and uncover its mysteries. Learn the truth about the lost, the electric ghouls that inhabit the vault, and their enigmatic overseer, Hugo Stoltz. They also showed off that you can become a ghoul now with this update. So if you want to play as a ghoul, here you go. This is your time to shine. Sea of Thieves Season 13 update. Being bad can sometimes feel good. They didn't really tell you what this update was going to be about. They showed off some new enemy ship that had a giant gaping mouth on it. But they said that the Season 13 will arrive July 25th. As a free update for all players across the platforms that's available on, and they will show off more about the update when it gets closer to that date. Starfield's also getting some sort of update called the Shattered Space. This update is also coming sometime in June, I believe. Hold on. Let me double check here. A new update available tonight. But the update is coming out tonight. The Shattered Space, whatever it is coming 2024, later in 2024. So, the new stuff for the updates, you got some new weapons in there, new custom content, both from Bethesda and from other players. You also get whatever the Vulture is, which may be a new quest line, and the new creation kit. And then the Shattered Space is a new, I guess, official mod support. Is this the first new quest line DLC with mod support? Introduction of Trackers Alliance, new bounty hunting features, and improvements to melee weapons, which will be coming with that DLC. World of Warcraft, the War Within is coming August 26th. I don't really know anything about this. But this is the first of 3 in the World Soul Saga, which will draw you deep into the mythology of World of Warcraft, weaving narrative threads. This will be available for $25. It'll include a level 60 character boost and a 60 day of game time. Happy Pride Month. Hardware announcements. 3 new Xbox Series X and S consoles were revealed. They are joining the current lineup, so you'll get you can get a 1 terabyte Series S in Robot White, an all digital Xbox Series X, and a 2 terabyte Xbox Series X Special Edition in Galaxy Black will be available in select markets. So the new Galaxy White for the Xbox Series X digital console is kind of. I mean, it looks exactly like the Series S, and I think they made it that way because the Series S also doesn't have a disk drive. I don't know if they said. I don't know if they had the pricing here. They didn't. They do not have pricing yet. But the all digital Xbox Series X will have 1 terabyte of hard drive. The Xbox Series S all digital 1 terabyte version is also in Robot White. And then the special edition Xbox Series X will have 2 terabytes and the disk drive with the Galaxy Black, which is like speckled with green on it. Kind of looks like a galaxy. And that was that. I enjoyed the showcase. I don't think that it was bad at all. But it wasn't my favorite from the weekend, but it certainly was good at least. So, let's go ahead and head back to past Yemmy to continue on with the show. All right, we're just going to touch on a few things here that happened in the news recently. I know there's probably not going to be as much as what happened, but these are just the cherry-picked things that I saw that were either important or kind of interesting. The PSVR 2 PC adapter will be available on the 7th of August, and it's going to cost about $60. You'll need to connect this device to the PC to use the PlayStation VR headset and controllers with Steam to play games like Half-Life Alyx and other things on Steam. You'll need a DisplayPort cable that's compatible with DisplayPort 1.4, as well as a Steam account and a compatible PC. The minimum requirements to use the PSVR 2 on PC are Windows 10 64-bit or Windows 11 64-bit, Intel Core i5 7600 or an AMD Ryzen 3 3100, 8 gigabytes or more of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 or later, or a Radeon RX 5500 XT, DisplayPort 1.4, USB direct connection only, and Bluetooth 4.0 or later. So this is very specific stuff you will need to play the PlayStation VR 2. So make sure your computer or whatever is compatible before you spend the $60 on this. In a press release, they said, while the most immersive way to experience PSVR 2 gaming remains on the PS5, we hope players will enjoy the ability to play an expanded lineup of VR games on the PC using the same headset. So pre-orders will go live on the PlayStation Direct website as well as select retailers soon. The Last of Us 2 PC port apparently wrapped up development more than 6 months ago. This is coming from a rumor or a report from an insider. Most likely the game is waiting. They are waiting to release this game on PC simply because of the show, and they want to line it up with the show better. I would think. If the game's already ready to go, why wouldn't they release it now? Probably because they want to wait. Also, the remastered version, quote unquote remastered version, came out on PS5 recently in January. So I'm guessing they maybe want to put some room between that. Usually they wait about a year or so before they release a game on PC at this point. So we'll see what they decide to do in the near future. Bungie has apologized for some launch issues with the latest Destiny 2 DLC. I believe this is the final DLC for Destiny 2, the final shape. This is supposed to be some sort of conclusion to the game's narrative saga. People are actually kind of enjoying it. I hear people saying like it kind of feels like a Halo 3 story or whatever. A lot of people using that meme of like the scene from Ratatouille where the film critic eats the ratatouille and he imagines himself as a kid eating ratatouille, you know. But apparently there were some failures on Bungie's side with the load balancer mechanics. They were forced to reroute traffic through them and partially mitigated the issues within 2 hours of launch. Other people are having problems with consistent errors trying to log into the game and join servers, while other errors are getting kicked by concurrent errors. So they are currently trying to solve the problems right now. They said that if you missed a cutscene or if something happened, you can replay any mission in the replayable missions mode on the Destiny map. It's unfortunate that there's some problems with the launch of this. Hopefully they'll get them resolved soon. Destiny 2 has been a long time that they've been working on that, and to have the final shape be a bit scuffed at launch in terms of playability is unfortunate. The Just Cause developer Avalanche Studios has announced that it's closing along with 2 other studios due to layoffs. So Avalanche Studios Group will retain offices in Stockholm and Malmö in Sweden and Liverpool in the UK as well. They said this is an exceptionally difficult decision, but we believe it's necessary to ensure a stable and sustainable future for the company. Our focus is now on supporting all Avalanchers through the challenging time. We're grateful for the invaluable contributions of those leaving and remain committed to creating incredible gaming experiences for other players. Avalanche most recently worked on Rage 2 and the Mad Max game from 2015. Both were decent. Rage 2 a little bit less than Mad Max. I really like that Mad Max game, and you can see the influences of that on Rage 2. But the Mad Max game is like a 7 out of 10. Rage 2 is like a 6 out of 10, you know. They just recently celebrated the 20th anniversary in 2023 as well, which is kind of unfortunate. So, yeah, there you go. More layoffs causing chaos. The PS2 game, The Thing, is getting a remaster coming from the same people who did the System Shock remake or re-release or whatever you want to call it. This 2002 single-player game is pretty revolutionary in terms of its gameplay mechanics and the stuff that's going on in the game. We played it on stream. It was a bit brutal in terms of like the saving and like how many health packs they give you. By the end of the game, I could not finish it because I did not have enough health, and I had no save states that had more health it was just a very unfortunate situation. I would probably play this remastered version if they just kind of improve the small things like that. But if you don't know what this game is, it's technically it takes place after the events of the Thing movie, and you're a squad of I don't know, soldiers or whatever who come to the facility to see what happened. So you go through kind of some of the events of the first movie. You kind of like see some of the stuff, and then you kind of go on your own adventure. It's very good. It's actually a very good game. I just wish that it had a more accessible health system. Astro's Playroom has gotten a new update on the game along with some new trophies. This is to build up to the next Astro game, Astrobot game. So the new trophies, are going to be across multiple levels in the game where you find various lost bots, I guess. There's some new gotchas as well in the game with the newest and latest PlayStation hardware. The robots you need to save are going to come up eventually as the game gets closer to release. The Astrobot game is closer to the release. So that's pretty fun. Very excited about that. I will definitely be getting back to the game to maybe I'll even give it another full replay through. I do really love this game. It's a very good game. Also, in terms of Astrobot news, there is a pre-order bonus with the editions of the game. And I don't know if it's also going to be with the regular version of the game, but the digital deluxe version of the game is going to come with the full game plus 3 outfits. Parappa the Rapper kind of outfit, a golden version of the Astrobot, and the Yarnum Hunter from Bloodborne. So Sony once again, or PlayStation once again, acknowledging that Bloodborne is alive, but they won't release a PS5 version. Also, the dual speed controller, there will be 3 skins for that, including the Glorious Graffiti skin, Neon Dream, and the Champions Gold. You'll also get the official soundtrack and digital art book, and also 12 PlayStation avatars. Pretty nice. So that version of the game is $70. The regular version of the game is $60, which is nice. PlayStation Plus Premium is getting 6 PlayStation VR 2 games. So if you are a part of the PlayStation Plus Premium tier and you have a PSVR 2, you can play these games, which I believe are available now to play. Before Your Eyes, Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord Frozen Empire, Synth Riders, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and 2, and Walkabout Mini Golf. All those games are available to play right now if you own PlayStation Plus Premium tier. And Nintendo has expanded its Switch Online Game Boy library with 5 more classics, all Mega Man games. Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the Game Boy and I guess just the original Game Boy. So if you want to play any of those games, they are all available, I believe, right now to play on the Nintendo Switch Online service for the Game Boy. So there you go. Pretty cool that they're adding all 5 of these games. Very cool indeed. All right, I will talk about games that I've been playing this past week. Next week, when we have less to talk about. So look out for reviews of Nightmare Cart and Star Wars Hunter next week. As of right now, I am YemmytheFerret. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk at you guys next week. Bye-bye.
The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by YemmytheFerret. The song Nightshade, used in the intro and outro, is owned by Adhesive Wombat. Small sound clips during the podcast were made by YemmytheFerret. News sources include NintendoLife.com, PushSquare.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions video game related are my own. Thank you for listening.